as well. I'll have to mute it while we're talking, I guess.
Yep, let me get that to you right now. Just making sure the quality is good, everything's set up on the stream. Excellent. All right, I've dropped it in the TeamSpeak channel.
Okay, I'm up.
All right, switching back to push to talk. And we should be good. They're starting to slot everything. And I think we're fine.
I've got the chat room up on the side, so so you can see people asking questions or whatever.
All right, so I usually like to give it a minute just to let people, see the notification come up, and over the next 15 minutes or so, they'll start coming in, and we'll probably get up to anywhere from 100 to 150 usually for these streams, so it's not too bad. Hopefully with Vietnam, we'll get a little higher, though. I think last year was up to 200, 250, so let's see how that goes. But as people are coming in, hey everyone, Liru here. We're going to be co-casting Vietnam with Eggbeast. For those of you who don't know, he is the guy that runs the SOG Prairie Fire CDLC as the project lead. He is also the one that helps coordinate all of the events we play on Sundays with Artsy Columbia. Rob, do you want to say a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, we obviously have a history playing the game together and going out and running the missions, quite often led by General Bore, who was a 1-0 in SOG, as people may know. And he's taught us quite a lot, I think, as we've gone along in terms of how to situational awareness and how to work as a team and how to fight and all that kind of stuff you think you know as a gamer, and when you learn it from an actual Special Forces guy, then it's pretty cool. So every Sunday we go out and he's there and out we go and do the missions. And you can't get enough of it. And bit by bit, we're adding some new SOG veterans too. So we'll see Dick Thompson joining the team sometime this month. He's in training at the moment.
Go ahead.
Well, he was a SOG 1-0 on 3 different teams, and his code name was Dynamite, and he's written a book which is called Dead Man Walking, and that's out sometime after Christmas. I'll keep you posted on that one.
All right.
I've read the first half of it already because he sent me a preview copy, and it's a doozy. It's just the very first page, he's blowing someone's brains out. It starts with fragmented skulls, and it just goes downhill from there. When he came out of SOG, he was invited to join the beginnings of Delta Force, and he couldn't do it for various reasons. He was invited onto the Sonte raid, which he also couldn't do. But he stuck around in SOCOM for 21 years total, and retired as a colonel. His nickname in Special Forces community was the Terminator. There's a very good reason for that.
I can imagine so if the first page of that book starts with skulls cracking.
Yeah, it's going to be a great new addition to the SOG, the SOG books. There's some great books out there, Lynn Black and Nick Brockhausen and Tiltmeyer and some of the other guys.
Right, Keenan.
But Dynamite's book is going to be literally dynamite.
Well, I can't wait to see what else he brings to the Sunday missions, because I've already learned so much from Ken. For those of you that don't recognize the names, Ken is 1-0 Idaho, who plays over the weekend, and Rob is Eggbeast, just to get that clarification out of the way. But I remember when Ken pulled out the quote-unquote lightsaber, the mini Uzi with the suppressor, the fire rate of that gun is just absolutely phenomenal. It's great for playing on those Sunday missions.
Yeah, he does love it.
Otherwise, we've got 3 rounds of PvP, the standard stuff for Friday night fights. We're going to be covering all the rounds of now, it's called the early branch in the morning. Not in the morning, but in the, how would I put it? It's early because for Why am I blanking? The European branch, it's late for them, but it's because this FNF is based as an American unit, it's early for them, and then the late branch, it's late for them and late for everyone else as well. But I've got a question, Egg Beast. Someone's asking what SOG stands for.
Studies and Observation Group. So in the original configuration, it was actually the Special Operations Group, and then they realized it kind of gave away what they were doing and they were supposed to be secret. So they rebranded as the Studies and Observations Group, so that technically they moved the operation from CIA to report directly to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So it wasn't actually reporting through the military hierarchy. And the reason for that was that it was then fully deniable, because there was no paperwork inside the military that related anything to do with their mission. So calling it Studies and Observations kind of fitted in with their sort of. It's partly to do with making it covert within the U.S. administration as much as it is covert with regards to China and the Soviets and stuff.
So a quick follow-up question, Rob. They're asking what the MAC-V in front of the SOG means as well.
Military Assistance Command Vietnam, and that's basically the generic name for the American intervention with the Republic of Vietnam to help defend it from the communist incursion.
So basically, the MAC-V is for the theater of war, and then SOG is for the group itself.
Yeah, and MAC-V was like the overarching umbrella project by the US administration to support Vietnam. And so underneath MAC-V, of course, you have General Westmoreland managing the army and, the entire theatre of war pretty much under the military. And then alongside him, you've got MAC-V SOG doing its own dirty work, over the border in Laos, Cambodia, and North Vietnam. And then you've also got the CIA running operations in Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and North and South Vietnam as well.
All right. Well, guys, so during the intermissions, we'll be doing some more Q&A. Rob here also has some great stories. He's been doing a lot of traveling over the past few weeks. I actually haven't been able to see him a lot, and we're going to play catch-up. But, I mean, we've known each other for about a year now, because we met each other at the previous year FNF event, if you remember way back when. And then I got invited to do the Sunday stuff as well, so...
Yeah.
No, this is going to be great. Just, 1 year going forward. But I remember... between the back then they were called the EU and the NA branches, I remember sitting with you in one of these casting couch channels, just listening to everything you were going over. You were talking about a lot of the dev stuff and just the behind the scenes of how you ran everything with the CDLC, and I just thought it was so fascinating. So I can't wait to see what else comes out in the intermissions today.
Oh yeah, and I'm here to fill in the blanks when there's not much going on, and answer questions from the. I'm watching the stream chat as well, and if anyone has questions about the DLC, which I'm allowed to answer, then
right, of course, we can't violate any of the NDAs.
That's right. So thanks to Ivno15, just saw he said that he's bought the DLC. So thank you, new customer through the door.
I will be honest, though, and this isn't me trying to shill or anything, but I would say the Prairie Fire CDLC is probably the best one out there. A lot of people would agree with me with that statement. Just the amount of content you get for the price. 3 maps now. Pretty much everything you can think of for weaponry. It's just always fun to work with as well. I think that's out of all of the ops I do. I've got... My next major event is going to be another Vietnam event. I let players vote on that. We've got another one. I'm working with Whiplash and Nemesis on another monthly event to do sometime this month as well. Just a lot of my stuff usually ends up being Vietnam because of just how awesome that CDLC is. So, and then right off the bat, we got some people in chat agreeing with me there. It is honestly the best one, in my opinion. But it looks like the mission is getting started here. But what do you got, Rob?
Just quickly answer Dawn's question. What would you say is the common mistake people get wrong regarding U.S. forces in Vietnam? I I think people get into the whole Hollywood idea of Vietnam, that it's all about playing rock music in helicopters and dropping napalm on villages and stuff. And actually, the majority of activities going on in Vietnam, I mean, it did seem like a crazy, frenetic war, but that's just the way it was portrayed on TV and in the media. For most guys that we talked to who were over there, it was quite a different experience. It was quite a sober kind of war, where things were planned and actions taken, and people went out on missions and got picked up and brought back again. And you just get this sense of everything's really frantic and crazy in Hollywood, and it had its moments, obviously, in different battles. But for a lot of guys, it was it was just like being in Iraq or Afghanistan or anywhere else in a war zone. It's a kind of a lot of boredom, a lot of sitting around, a lot of dicking around with each other and stuff. Just like any other war, not really that different.
It's understandable.
But obviously,
Go ahead.
The special forces side of things, of course, these guys are completely crazy. They're selected because they're crazy, and so the things they get up to in their downtime and on their missions is just insane. And because they were doing it back in the day, fighting the fourth strongest army in the world or something, the North Vietnamese army at the time. So that's another common mistake is, people swallow this whole bullshit about America fighting the rice farmers.
Yeah.
and actually, they were fighting a massive, really well armed and well prepared military. So that's the thing that people tend to overlook.
People buying into the propaganda early on.
Yeah, a lot
they
of
see in history
seem to portray it this way, and it just irks me because it isn't right. When you just have to read memoirs from the guys that were there, and you can tell, not fighting civilians.
I'd say history is told by the victors, but it's arguable if we really won that war, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think there were 3 passes going from North Vietnam to the south through Laos. And and originally, I think, was a plan to nuke those passes, and if they'd actually done it, then that would have been the end. There would have been no further incursion into the south. But of course, it would have set a global precedent, and then there could have been nukes going off in Cuba or Guatemala or somewhere else, and they didn't really want to set that precedent.
Yeah. But otherwise, I'd imagine, since we're in the map screen right now, to transition us to the event itself, they're probably going over everything custom, such as weaponry. They're going to bring the shotguns back. I remember last year, we had one player, his name was Stark. We watched him go to town with a shotgun, and he DM'd me this morning saying, hey, Vietnam FNF is back. Guess who's bringing the street sweeper again? So I'll be keeping an eye on him. But also this AO, Hanoi, we did see last year. The Blue Force spawns, I believe, were outside to the south and west, but it looks like this time there's going to be a northern bridge and a bit of a harbor area to the east where Blue 4 is going to spawn, and Op 4 is going to have the center. The sectors themselves, there are 3. And for this round, they have to be taken in a sequential order. So Sector 1 first, then 2, then 3. Sector control has also changed recently. Now, instead of having to eliminate all of your opponents in the sector, you have to basically have more units in the sector than the other side. After that is initialized, then a 90-second timer will count down. And at any point, if you lose control of the sector via having that majority, you would then have to get the forces back in to regain that majority, and the timer resets. So 3 sectors off the bat means it's going to be a pretty harsh fight, especially with the size of these sectors. However, with them all being in town, this is a relatively small AO compared to others we've seen in FNF. But otherwise, let's go ahead and read through the mission here. So for the background here, the Battle of Vientiane. Am I pronouncing that right, Rob? Vientiane.
Yeah, I've always called it Vientiane.
Vientiane, all right. The Battle of Vientiane was a decisive action of the 1960 Laotian coup, a counter-coup led by oh, man, my my pronunciation's going to suck tonight.
Phu My Not Savan.
Fumi Nasavan and the Royal Laotian Army, Blufor, against his former ally, Captain Con Lee and the Pathlet Lao.
Yep.
Opfor, who had seized power from the Noseven just a few months before, fought between the 13th and 16th of December 1960. The battle ended with General Fumi winning control over the Kingdom of Laos and the aid of the Royal Thai government and the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency. The losing force under Captain Khan retreated onto the strategic plain of Jars to begin an uneasy coexistence with the Pathet Lao and the invading People's Army of Vietnam. So, quick mission rule here. Only one platoon is permitted in Safe Zone 2, which I'd imagine is the southern one. But we don't see a numbering here. So, also they say platoon. They might mean squad, because right now they're at a platoon size. So that might just be a quick mistype, but we'll see if only one squad's allowed in one other area. But otherwise, these two spawn zones, one will allow them to come in from the east and hit the southeastern corner of the town or the southern side. The other, they're going to have to go over a bridge or potentially swim across at a different angle. And then depending on which angle they pick, if they go from the bridge, they'll come in from the northeastern corner or the straight west, or even maybe the north if they loop around. Regardless, let's go ahead and look at the gear selection of the two teams, starting with Op4. Their uniforms are going to be the Laos People Liberation Front, so they have little hats, chest rigs, and some simple uniforms. Weaponry is going to be a mix of Mosins and SKSs. They also get the choice of having ISHs, which are double-barrel shotguns, and then TTs, which are handguns. Support assets. I've always found this interesting for FNF, how they do their light machine gun and medium machine guns. They usually default to submachine gun use. So the light machine gunners, quote-unquote, get PPSHs. More than likely are going to have drum mags with them, but they might have some sticks as well. And then the medium machine guns are going to an actual LMG, which is the DP-27 here. Light anti-tank is going to be the B-41. And crew and aviation get a PPSH as well, probably with stick mags. Now, I'm also seeing players like Lolo putting rifle grenades at the end of their SKSs, so both sides are going to potentially have grenadier capabilities. Between last year and this year, Rob, they used to really nerf explosive damage in FNF. I want to say about 4 months ago, they took that away, and now explosives are that much more deadly. So we'll probably be seeing a lot of nasty plays with that, and a lot of players going down to some grenade use. So I remember you were talking to your guys from RT Columbia that are playing tonight. We'll make sure to get some good limelight with them. But you were telling them to make sure they throw their grenades, because they're going to be incredibly useful for these matches.
Yeah, well, yeah. As I was saying, I've got a dog in the fight tonight because my team is actually in here playing. So
right.
I've been wishing them luck and urging them to use as many grenades, because they don't usually play PvP, and they need to kind of learn the Call of Duty.
The grenades will definitely save them, though.
Yeah,
definitely. But I do wish them luck. Go ahead. Sorry.
Just picking up on the DP-27. I mean, that thing is like a laser. It has the big heavy Russian round of the 7.62 51.
Right.
Or 54, sorry, and it's you can shoot that thing. It's like an SVD. It has the same stopping power. It's the same round. It's got the same virtually the same barrel length as an SVD. So you can use it like a sniper rifle with iron sights and take people out really well with it.
We'll see how the medium machine gunners utilize it. Otherwise, the assets that Op4 gets are two 85mm anti-tank guns. Which it looks like they're actually going to be able to tow in the field, because I see them at the spawn area, so we'll see how they set those up. They have two SGMs, which appear to be, looks like either medium or heavy machine guns that have some wheels on them, so those will be towed in as well. And then three standing PKs, which are medium machine guns chambered in 7.62 by 54, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, correct. I think the SGM is using the shorter round. I'm not sure. I should know that.
I'm looking around their spawn right now. All right, so here are the other turrets. Everything's going to have to be dragged in. But Vietnam, no body armor. Explosions aren't nerfed anymore. You hear some artillery going off in the background. This is going to get messy and brutal, and we'll just have to see how all that goes. Otherwise, let's go ahead and look at our Blue 4 players. Their faction is going to be the Vietnam-era Royal Laos Army guys. So pretty much the same thing, though I do see some potentially flak jackets on their vests there. Their weaponry is going to be a mix of World War II era guns. So we've got M1 Garans, M1 carbines, the 1897 trench gun, and the 1911 for their secondaries. Support, the light machine gunners are going to get the Tommy gun, probably with drum mags, and then the medium machine gunners are going to get the bars, the Browning automatic rifles. Light anti-tanks are going to be the single-shot M72s, and crew and aviation are going to get the choice of the MAT 49 submachine gun. I love how a little no entry as she just came up as I heard artillery going off, meaning it just blew up a house somewhere. Otherwise, let's go ahead and look. I don't think there's any other assets for Blue 4. It just said they had a 10% numbers advantage here, and I am seeing that reflected in nothing in their CSW, also known as Crew Served Weapons Group, and no data for their assets, so they're just going to be walking right in here. Otherwise, tracking our players on both sides on command for Blue 4, we have Depso. His 2IC is Sayak, his 3IC is Timek, and his platoon medic is Alvin. Nemesis is going to be his Alpha Squad leader. Under him is Oddball with a... So technically it's a marksman slot, and I just scrolled in to see, yes, he does have a scope on that M1 Garand. So that is the marksman rifle they're going to be working on Blue 4. Dov's going to be the medic. Naders is going to be the 2IC. I think it's only the squad leaders that have the grenade launchers, but I could be wrong because I see Nemesis with a M1 carbine. Rob, do the M1 carbines have rifle grenades?
Some of them do, yeah.
Okay.
The way we implemented them, they have you have to have the grenade launcher variant of the weapon in order to be able to use it, and that version you cannot put a scope on. Otherwise, everyone would have scope grenade launchers.
A scope grenade launcher, and that would be very overpowered, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, because they don't have it in the roster information, where the grenade rifle is for Blue 4 and what weapon it will be. But considering the stakes here, regardless of what it is, it's probably going to be very effective. Otherwise, I'm going to speed through the rest of the roster here because I run a prediction for the viewers to see they can put channel points down on which side is going to win. But otherwise, Yanni Finn's leading Alpha 1 with Cullis, Nick, Purton, Katz, and Nomad under him. Whiplash leading Alpha 2 with your guys. We've got Ozzy, we've got Bigma, Old Cool, Bacon Oreos, Shannon, and Kajus. So the RT Columbia guys are going to be under Alpha 2, with some Scandi Recon players in Alpha 1, all under the command of Nemesis. So that should be really cool. Otherwise, Valitarian leading Bravo with Skitz as his 2IC, Daedalur as the marksman, Valkyrie as the medic, Flaninja leading Bravo 1 with Thumper, Royce, Kevin, Zally, and Shut It Down. Karate Weasel leading Bravo 2 with Mange, Jenton, Rufy, Mike, and Waldo. King from Papega Pirates is also here. Leading Charlie with Novix as his 2IC, Roster as the marksman, Kate Kier as the medic, Flux leading Charlie 1 with Michael, Korvac, Artisan, Arma Jesus, Band, and Dooley. All in the same group. Sideways leading Charlie 2 with Legal Action, Fonk, Holton, Wise, and Butcher under him. And then we have Delta 1 acting as its own team. They're going to be the group spawned in the north, so I do assume that was a mistype in the special mission rules saying a platoon had to start from the other sector. I think I was right in saying it was only a squad, or in this case just a fire team, but it's Khalil leading Fawns, Nicholas, Blast, Renly, and Pierce under him. Though I think Pierce is going to be leading this team here. So that's a pretty big mix there. We got Papega and Scandi Recon together. Honestly, two of the best groups in FNF, and they're going to be playing alongside RT Columbia. So, Rob, that's going to give them a lot of experience for their first match. I do wish them luck because they're going to be playing against some really tough competitors here on Op4. We got Fred platoon leading with Stark as his 2IC. Unfortunately, he didn't get the shotgun, though, but I'm willing to bet he will do his best to try and find one. Mackenzie being the platoon medic for Op4. Otherwise, we've got Steve leading Alpha with Kabubi Face as the medic. Looks like their marksman rifle is going to be an SKS with a scope. though I don't see a scope on Kabubi. He might have given it to someone else, which is understandable. Vagrant's going to be leading Alpha 1 with Olaf, Reaper's Insanity, Mutant Sam, and Lolo. Norris is going to be leading Alpha 2 with Schult, Carlson, Bates, Iqbal, and Panj. NASA, so the guys from OFCRA, the other PvP event we cover on Thursdays, going to be leading Bravo, Ivno as his marksman, Pogo underscore as the medic, Roy DeCamper as the 2IC. It looks like, I think the 2ICs in the squad have the grenade rifle because the SKS's grenade rifle variant has that little thing up the front, which is a sight line for it. The adapter sight. So I think that's where the grenade rifle is on each side. So if I were to go back up to Blue 4 real quick, just because I want to see if I can see the sign of the gun. That would be Novix. So I think the M1... I think it is going to be an M1 Garand then, because that's what I see the 2IC having here. And he does have that slightly longer barrel, which I believe is the grenade rifle adapter for firing it. So I could be wrong, because I'm trying to see if anyone just has it out already. But either way, I mean, both are going to be pretty powerful here. But regardless, going back through the rest of Op4's roster, Norris leading Alpha 2 with Schult, Carlson, Bates, Iqbal, and Panj. I think I just covered that. So it's NASA. We covered those four. Bluck leading Bravo 1 with Bits, Kermit, Lolo, PHK, and Idiot Wolf. And there is no Bravo 2. Charlie being led by Ash with Gazag as his marksman, Swola as the medic, and it looks like he's already towing in one of the field guns, though they did the glitch with Maz, where if you get into the gun and then someone else picks the gun up within the same second, you can have someone on the gun and then someone else carrying the gun around, which is really silly. I hope they don't actually do that during the round, because I think that would be considered metagaming, but it is always funny to watch this type of thing happen. But back to the roster here, we also have Gur as the 2IC. Charlie 1 being led by Anderson with Arcor, Maz, Wheaton, Major Khan, Banks, and Amit. The ball's under him. Jack the Viper leading Charlie 2 with Nox, Dotarius, Anishi, and Costa and Juani. And then last group is going to be Delta with Skipu leading Agent, MFL, Giovanni, Pingus, and Petrosky. And I just got a beautiful shot of some artillery hitting a train track. All right. Overall, Op4 seems to be just all around the town here. I can't really find any real rhyme or reason to their strategy at the moment. Looks like they're trying to make a northern defense line to cover the bridge, and then just some isolated pockets of resistance. More than likely, Fred just told his squads to try to find the best defensive positions that they could.
I just sorry to cut across you. I just saw a team. There's a team going for the train station. If you go and look at that, it's pretty cool. Horrible Goat.
Oh, yeah.
Recently filled out that train station and added in a whole new interior. So.
Oh, that's great.
And we designed it where you can go up on the roof and from the attic and everything. So.
I did not know this existed. That is awesome.
Yeah, there's a whole team in there. You can see.
Yeah.
I think they're in the attic.
And the rooftop as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can see the ladders they use to get up there. That is awesome, man. I'm personally a sucker for custom compositions in buildings. I just saw one of them fall off the roof. But no, I really love seeing, I mean, the freaking chandelier detail for, Arma 3, a game that came out, almost 10 years ago, give or take?
Yeah, and that's based on the real chandeliers. It's not, we haven't just made something up.
So based off of the real chandeliers that were at train stations in Vietnam. That's awesome.
No, at the Hanoi train station.
Oh, that's awesome.
Landmark,
at itself, yeah.
This is actually the real Hanoi train station.
That's dope.
It has a working clock as well.
Up on the front?
Yeah. It's actually telling the right time.
I don't think I have a way to tell the time from the spectator interface, but I actually do see the minute hand slowly moving. That's crazy, man. I can't think of other... I guess church buildings would also have that effect, too. But, I look to the church building across the street, and it doesn't have any moving parts. But
we should fix that. Yeah, that's because that's a Bohemia building, whereas this one, the other one we made ourselves is better.
One-upping Bohemia assets, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah. Always.
All right, 1 minute to go. before the start is official here. Blue 4 setting up to just run into the AO here. I would say overall, guys, the slightly better players are on Blue 4 this time around here, especially with Papega and Scandi. Both on the same side. We know how those rounds usually go. But in Vietnam, guys, it's anyone's game. There's less body armor in play. There's more grenades in play. We've seen how grenades do over the past few months, but I'm really curious to see just how much more bloody this is going to get, considering the Vietnam scale of explosives. So the round has begun. Looking on the northern side, we have some of these guys set up in a construction building with one of those SKD turrets.
SGMs.
SGM, my bad.
And that is a 7.6254, because I just went and double checked. Which means it's firing the same round as the
PKMs.
PK.
Yeah.
Look at that beautiful model.
Ooh.
Go buy my DLC. Just look at that lovely model. You know, that's just such an amazing piece of art the guy made for us.
So it looks like they're trying to get some sight lines on the bridge itself. I mean, just looking at it close, you can also see all the notches for all the ranging of the gun as well. I mean,
yeah, and that's
oh,
actually,
man.
that's actually not the gunner LOD as well, which the gunner LOD has higher detail in it when you're actually sitting inside the gun. That's just LOD 0.
That's great.
Shame we have to have the floating bullet, belt, but there's no other way of doing it really.
I getcha. All right, so Blue 4, meanwhile, across the way, they're going to be cautious to potentially cross this area. I don't blame them. With Pierce leading them, though, they're definitely not going to go on the bridge itself. They're probably going to try to find a way to swim across, because Pierce usually does these wide outflanks anyway. But let's go ahead and look down over at Blue 4 here and just see the massive infantry push. When I am doing solo shoutcasting, Rob, I'm able to listen to them locally. And it's always really funny to listen to their conversations and what random BS they might be talking about as they all run by. But it's so fun to just watch everyone come through here just to get a feel for the scope of... We've got about 115 people playing tonight. That might increase, but just look at that. Everyone passing by.
That's a scary number of Americans. Well, they're actually Laotians. But
technically, you're right.
Look like Americans. Running along, and occasionally you see one of them popping a grenade on the end of his Garand. So, and somebody was saying, "Ooh, not an M1" earlier, but I actually fired my first Garand a few weeks ago on the range, and I was hitting targets at 800 meters with it, and I'd never fired one before. It was a very, very good weapon.
I can't wait to hear more, because we were talking about that before we started the stream. But I want to hear how the kick was on your shoulder, because I hear it's a pretty big kick in itself when you fire a Garand.
Yeah, I think we had an M1A, which is basically the M14 civilian variant, firing next to us, and that thing is just so loud. Like, and the actual blast wave from it, you get like a blast wave. It kind of spreads out from when someone pulls the trigger. Like everyone around you get hit by the wind. You know, it's like it's quite noticeable. You know. Garand seemed to be pretty cool. It was quite easy to couch against the shoulder and comfortable to shoot. I didn't get Garand thumb, which, you know, I was being... General Bowray was looking after me and making sure I didn't do anything stupid with my thumb. But, I mean, we put so much lead down range from that on that weapon, and all the SOG guys were having a go on it too. It was really cool. So I'd be really interested to see how they play with it tonight. You know, it is a good weapon.
Indeed. I'm just ready to hear all the pings of the magazine, or the not the magazines, the clips getting ejected. I don't know why, I love that sound.
Yeah, when Dennis first did the sound for it, and he posted it in our developer
There's
Discord,
that rifle grenade adapter.
was just like having orgasms basically. Just like, how did he get it to work? Because, you know, it's something you have to do custom in armor. You can't. You don't normally have a separate noise like that when you're reloading the thing. Sorry, when you fire the last round. You know?
Right.
And he got it all working.
So I'm getting a shot of the M1 Garand with the rifle grenade adapter on the top. It's a pretty thick piece on it, but that's just to confirm who has those grenade rifle attachments, because, you know, other rounds where they might bring these kits in as well. It's good to know for the future rounds.
I was just picking up on the chat there, and what the guys are talking about for shooting. The one thing I noticed as a new shooter is that I was anticipating the shot, and I was closing my eyes.
Oh, I do that too on occasion.
Kind of flinching before I pulled the trigger. And you sort of have to consciously overcome that sort of that reaction. It's quite interesting.
All right, a little bit of a lag spike as I now go to the northern side. It looks like Blue 4 Delta, the one group that started on the northern side, had some eyes on Op4, who are traveling to the central bank and exchanging fire here. So I don't think there are any casualties on either side. I'm not seeing any skulls, but that is just going to cause Blue 4 up here to hunker down. Pierce
I'm not too happy about that Blue 4 position, because if you look at where they are, they've got no way of getting out of there if they get pinned down. If somebody gets them pinned on both sides of that shed, there's no way out.
See, and the funny thing is that they could potentially just move immediately to the east and climb over, but the wall they're hiding behind is slightly shorter than the wall they're going to have to climb over. So that gives Op4, if they're hunkering this position down, a few seconds to actually eliminate any Blue 4 guys that potentially go over. So if Blue 4 tries to move from this position, they're going to have to smoke to even attempt to get out of here. Otherwise, just get completely torn apart. But you have to also consider this might be part of Blue 4's strategy, because if you look at the rest of the force, they're doing this wide flank around to the point they might be trying to attack from the southern side of Sector 3, or even loop all the way around and come in from the west and try to cut through. So Blue 4 here might just be trying to pull as much Op4 over here as they can to weaken the defensive lines in other areas, so that Blue 4 can then just steamroll in with their main force and catch a lot of Op4 out of position.
Yeah, so, I didn't realize that, of course, they've got enhanced movement, right? So they can actually just backpedal and climb the wall. Yeah, okay. Though as you say, it does make you a little bit slow at that point.
This wall also might just be a bit too tall, in all honesty, for them to climb as well. So now they got Blast doing suppressive fire blindly. Thankfully, Op4 didn't have the best sight lines here, and also you see that forward element, Charlie 1, now pulling back. So no one was able to lay suppressive fire as these guys crossed through. But now you've got a random artillery strike also hitting pretty close, so I think Blue 4's main job here is to simply harass, but
from the construction yard, I think it is, and they do not want to be kneeling in the way of that.
Yeah, because you got the
what it is that's shooting at them. Yeah, it's the SGM up there. Oh, did they get him? No.
No.
Put his bag down. Got it in a good position.
They really do, but they've got no one on it to utilize it. Now I think Blue 4 is going to be able to pull around and get to another area. Also, I might stand corrected here. Pierce could potentially go up on the bridge using the northern entryway, keep his guys low, and just do a suicide charge. He would pull something like that.
It's a long way to run, though. I mean, that's a good 400 meters long, that bridge. The real bridge is actually 1.1 miles long.
Right.
We made a scale model.
It would be tough to put that in Arma 3, though.
Tough enough to put this one in.
Yeah, right? It's already quite big.
Of course, we built it and then realized, are we going to get a truck around that corner?
Right. If you're careful enough.
We had to remodel the slope a little bit.
Just to make sure vehicles can get up there without quote-unquote armoring themselves. All right, looking back at the southern group, it really does look like Blue 4 is going to come around and potentially come in from the southwest or even direct west. Normally, when you see the attacking faction try to backcap sectors like this, where they try to hit Sector 3 first in a round that they're supposed to be playing sequentially, it doesn't work, but just based off of where the sectors are positioned, where Op4 set up their lines... Hold on, I just want to catch this turret firing. Yeah, so they're suppressing. Now that they've brought it over to the right, they're now firing at where Blue 4 was, but Blue 4, they've disseminated their forces across a few different buildings here. But as I was saying, normally the attackers don't win fights like that, but because of how close these sectors are together and looking at where OpForce put their lines, half of their force on the northern side and half to the south, covering what looks like the main MSR that bifurcates the northern and southern sides of Hanoi, Blue 4 might be able to just get completely around that defensive line and come in through this really nice gap in the sector square, or the grid square of 128, 135, and just sneak right in, and then just have forces ready to hit Sector 3 once Sectors 1 and 2 are done. But if Blue 4 can get in there, they could force Op4 to just turn around and have to become the attackers themselves instead. So we'll just have to see how this plan plays out, but Depso so far has been doing a great job by maneuvering over. And it looks like he's having Bravo stay back here to make that push, because these guys are digging fortifications. I always love how the how Ace decided to work their entrenching tool compatibility with SOG Prairie Fire was to give it the ability to have spider holes. And I do find that a bit annoying because, and you might be able to shed light on this, Rob, I don't think GIs dug spider holes, did they?
Well, they would have dug themselves a shell scrape or a foxhole. It's the same sort of thing, really. But the the use of camouflage spider holes is something that is particularly, the Japanese were very good at this stuff. And in Asian warfare, it dates back thousands of years. Using these sort of concealed holes in the ground with like a trapdoor on top that you come rising out of to surprise your enemy. The Chinese were doing this back in the whatever dynasties, going right back. They had a real art of warfare when we were still rubbing sticks together to make fire.
Right, Sun Tzu, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you got Sun Tzu and 6 secret teachings from the other generals as well.
Right.
Very good books.
Yeah, but based off of where Blue 4 is right now, Pierce staying right here, he's definitely trying to just attract attention up here, and it looks like it's working. He's got the entirety of Op4 Charlie maneuvering around, and even Delta trying to set up positions across this bank. So I think Blue 4, at this angle, even if they were to attack the southern Op4 defensive line, Blue 4 would at least enjoy a 2-to-1, even 3-to-1 advantage in certain spots. So we'll just have to see how Op4 reacts to this, and if they wise up to the fact that Blue 4 isn't going to make an attack from the northern side, but instead are using this as bait. I'm hearing random shots going off across the river. That might just be a marksman. I do see Gazag up here with that scope on his SKS. He is trying to spot targets here, doing a quick reload there as well, but now you're seeing Blue 4 starting to coming from that southwestern side. They're going to get right on top of the Hanoi train station at Sector 3. Won't be able to capture it until Sectors 1 and 2 are taken, but they are getting close. I just heard the church bell ding, and looking at the clock on the train station, it is at the top of the hour, indicating that, the bells for the Bohemia buildings go off. That is such a cool little detail.
Yeah, it's 9 p.m. in UK, and it's reading 8 p.m. on the clock.
I guess they didn't account for daylight savings then, eh?
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. You're right. Yeah, something like that.
All right.
I was going to say that the guys approaching the train station now, they're going to have the fun of some elements I actually added in the design of this rail yard, because in the last update we did, we added some trains, and I actually built all of this stuff, the piles of wood and the little ramps going into the carriages and everything. So
that's great.
Players can actually get, nip in and out and run along the platform, and there's plenty of cover to use as like a battle space, a bit like a Call of Duty map or something.
Oh, definitely.
Designing it with the player in mind,
No, it's so nice that you've added those small little features. And I had people saying in chat when we were first talking about that building, saying that it's amazing that 10-year-old game with DLC is getting these little features in, whereas, games that are built for 2022 don't have such detail. It's all about the little things.
Oh, and if you go and look inside the cab of the train, of course, you'll see my picture with my breasts.
Of course. Naturally. That is the peak human condition right there.
Yeah, that's.
Oh my god.
That's what the guys did to me while I didn't know it. You know, me and Sergeant Savage.
Right.
We got roasted.
All right, taking us to the action here. Looks like some members of Pepega were shooting at and actually eliminated Curie here, who was by himself on this Overwatch position. But that just goes to show the level of skill that Pepega does have. They were able to spot a random guy in a random building at the edge of an entire town and just shoot him twice and knock him out. So Curie waking back up, though. But now, as I'm speaking, Vagrant gets picked off by a single shot. And we got shotgun blast now going up there too. But go ahead, Rob.
But they'll be thinking someone's hacking.
Yeah, with that aimbot, you've got Wise up here with the M1 Garand, double tapping and eliminating Vagrant on what appears to be about a 200-meter shot. But you were saying earlier you were dropping targets at 800 meters with the Garand there. So there you go, a testament to its accuracy.
Great rifle.
So you already have Pepega now pushing through. Looks like some people are coming up to potentially check on whether or not they double-tapped Curie, who has just thrown a grenade outside, but it looks like he accidentally bad-fragged himself and blew himself up. I guess he should have made sure the window was open first, but I also know some buildings are notorious for having invisible hitboxes that prevent grenades from being thrown out.
Well, he's open the window now.
Yeah, and Bayan just went upstairs and took him out. We had another Op4 guy come around and get eliminated, but right off the bat, looking at the casualties, most of Alpha 1 for Op4 is dead, and Blue 4 hasn't suffered a single casualty. And that just is a testament to both how good Pepega is, but look at where this attack is coming from. Blue 4, I would assume by sheer luck, because there's no way they could have done reconnaissance, have been sweeping the Op4 defensive line to the south on its flank. Thus minimizing, basically, how would I put it? By attacking the flank of a defensive line, you're minimizing where that engagement is, but Op4, they only had a single team worth of guys on that western corner, whereas Blue 4 pushed with an entire squad. So Blue 4 having the numbers advantage in that attack, possibly defeating Op4 in a defeat in detail. Where
let's face it, you should always have two squads working together, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
One squad
to
covers
coordinate.
the other one. The old classic fire and maneuver.
So with Blue 4 having a full squad up here, at the least they can do that with their teams, but also with that far western part of the defensive line taken out, now you're seeing other groups coming in, sweeping around and potentially taking out any stragglers that might arise running around in the confusion of the flank being attacked. So now, I think the most worrying part for Blue 4, though, is Bravo. They're about to hit the brunt of the defensive line, but that line is also being flanked directly from the west by Charlie, so these squads are going to be doing a great job working together here.
Interested to see how they use the new buildings. This one here is one of the new buildings. You can open all the fronts and all the shutters and everything. You can go out on the balconies as well.
We got some AT going back and forth as well here. As both sides are desperately trying to use both rifle grenades and I think that was the B-41 on Op4 side, basically an RPG, to try to slow each other down. Yeah,
the RPG is a great squad
ping
weapon for suppression because it has a nice blast area, blast radius on it, and it will, it will frag a lot of people.
Pause in there for a second. Now you're just seeing the chaos of both sides engaging each other here. Just checking on the north. It looks like Pierce actually did. No, he went for a swim instead, and Op4 is now starting to counter that position. But again, a lot of Op4 is still towards the north, and that is allowing this, I would say, 90% of Blue 4 to just completely steamroll the southern side.
Yeah, at the beginning when we saw that whole Blue 4 element running in, I just thought if I had that many guys running with me, I'd keep them all together and just do a steamroller.
Oh yeah. The one caveat to that is you got to be careful about the enemy's grenade use, because one grenade in the middle of everyone and everyone's toast.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
But I'm watching your guys right now running through. They're now coming under contact. One of them actually just got taken out by a target in the second story.
Oh, it was Whiplash. No.
Oh, it was Cullis. So that part of Alpha 1. So he's part of Scandi instead. So your guys are still up and kicking.
Go Columbia.
We've got some Op4 guys on the rooftops here trying to snipe down, but with so much Blue 4 around here, there's Sector 1 being taken even. So now you're about to see a massive amount of Op4 on the northern side turn around and start coming in, because if they don't, because Op4 doesn't even have any players in the sectors themselves, it's just one guy in the sector is going to start taking it. So right off the bat, you're seeing some Op4 guys immediately turn around and moving down south. This round might end relatively on the early side, but I mean, we just saw some buildings blown up. We got a floating body up here because it died as the building collapsed.
Got some Willy Pete.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that stuff's dangerous because it burns through floors as well. You know, fire damage in armor has no vertical. What's the word? There's nothing that stops it. It'll damage everything in a vertical line. So if you throw Willy Pete in the ground floor, it'll kill everyone on the floor above.
Yeah. So Sector 1 no longer being captured because Op4 started rushing units down to the south. And also people from the southern defense line all the way on the easternmost side are now moving north to get to the defensive line itself. So Blue 4, from how everything looks, they're going to completely eliminate what remains in that southern defensive line with, honestly, very few casualties compared to Op4. Still a good handful, though, that shouldn't be discounted, but we'll probably just see Blue 4 then muscle up to the sectors and then just pull back, taking sector by sector. Still have some... Go ahead.
Liru, is there an easy way to see, like, the player count? Is that
on the side? Not really, unfortunately. The vanilla spectator roles do have a player count on the bottom left, but the Ace one does not. We still have a few things that I wish we could get, but we got McKenzie right here on a great flanking spot. He just took out Butcher and then pulled back. And now Blue 4 is running up to his building.
They're mobbing him. Better to get ready.
I'm going to be honest, McKenzie should have used the grenade there instead. He's trying to hit Michael now.
I wonder if they'll try and melee.
Maybe. Oh, but he gets sniped out by Michael across the street, and who was that? Holton comes in and blasts him with the shotgun for good measure.
Look at that. There's a whole teabag party about to happen.
With everyone up there. More artillery landing dangerously close. That is just ambience, but I think it will actually hurt people if they're close to it, so... Whew. Otherwise, we got Iqbal on the roof right here. He's got some Blue 4 guys right next to him on a separate building.
Oh my god, he could short frag them so easily.
He could, if he knows they're there. He might just be trying... Oh, but a grenade goes off down on the street below. That might have been him. Look at all the people that have been knocked out.
Yeah, it could well have been. There's nobody else around.
Wow. It might have been Norris, though, because I just saw him throw a red smoke grenade, and it's landed in this area. Looks like most of these guys have woken up, though, because they were far enough. But, wow, that was messy. We just saw Waldo get knocked out by something up here. That might have been Norris shooting at him. One of the two SKSs here for sure. And then we do have Reaper Insanity still on the rear, though, in this building. Look at this. He's got a freaking PKM static on the second story. He's just waiting for people to come upstairs, though. That's adorable.
Yeah,
he
I mean,
can't
he's
even...
just asking for a frag in the face. There.
Right. But he can't even look down the gun sight because it's above his head. He's just angling it, waiting for people to come by. So I've seen prompts for Sector 1 going back and forth here. We got Flux. There's Sector 1 being captured again, quote-unquote. Well, it's just because Op4 keeps putting more people in, and Blue 4 keep putting people in and out of that sector as well. Major Khan, I think, spotted Flux. Yep, and takes him out from the first story, from literally a building away, firing through a building to get to him. So that was a great shot there. Yeah,
these Tommy guns with the 5th round drums, they're absolutely lethal in close quarters. They're just Chicago typewriter.
Oh, yeah.
Great weapons. Of course, they're heavy as hell. You'd never take one of those in the jungle.
Oh, yeah. We got Roster right here. He's running right up behind Norris. Is he going to follow him up there? A grenade almost takes him out. And there he goes, taking him out with, I believe, an M1 Garand. Meanwhile, Stark ran all the way to the south. He might try to flank around to potentially go over to Sector 3. And we still got Reaper in this building. I'm wondering at what point he'll get off that static and come out, because if he does, he'll get a great shot on Bayet, Nomad, Naders, and Dooley back here. But it looks like they're firing up at Roofy's position, thinking he's hostile. Shots landing really close to Roofy's head, but a little bit of a missed PID here.
I'm now wondering if we put all these planks across the roofs or if you guys are getting initials.
Yeah, right? Iqbal, meanwhile, gets spotted. Jennison turns left, also almost running into Mann's Thompson Chicago typewriter shots, but then he was able to get the kill as Iqbal was caught in a reload there. But we keep seeing prompts for Sector 1 being captured because the fighting in this bottom right building keeps changing as people are getting knocked unconscious and waking back up. But a lot of CQC going on here. Wise taking out Idiot Wolf. Whoops, almost accidentally put my NVGs on there, but we see the Sector 1 box being filled, indicating it is being taken. And then we got a lot of Blue 4 in here ready for Sector 2. I'd imagine some people are going to be ordered to go back to Sector 3 once Sector 1 is fully taken, but you do see Op 4 elements running around to either go to Sector 2 or Sector 3 here, and Blue 4 is trying to send guys up to cut him off. You have Armagees firing on the rear of Doritas and takes him out. He then takes fire from Uni here, but I think these guys are trying to loop around to get to the train station. And then we still have Stark on the back line here on a single kill. He does have, actually he doesn't have the grenade rifle variant of the SKS. But he is trying to line up some more shots here as well. Sector 1 taken, and immediately the prompt for Sector 2 goes up. And I do see the bar being filled. Okay. So I'd imagine Op 4, they're going to pull everything around to try to get to Sector 3. So Blue 4 needs to loop everything back to Sector 3 as well. So they can beat Op 4 to the punch. But this played out pretty much how I predicted, of Blue 4 is just going to bypass Op 4's defensive lines. Utilizing Delta on the north, they were also able to pull a lot of Op 4 away. And Blue 4 is pretty much taking this objective out from under the nose of a lot of Op 4 guys. And now that Op 4 is forced out of defensive positions to be in the open here, where Blue 4 is in these sectors, just a lot of Op 4 are getting taken out as they try to maneuver.
So does Blue 4 have one single commander?
Sorry, can you say that again? There was rifle fire.
Does Blue 4 have one single commander?
So Blue 4 has the single commander. It's Depso. Sayak was his 2IC, but he has died. And then he also has a 3IC, Timek. So this is all Depso's idea, I would be willing to bet.
Right, okay.
Oh, Gazag and Nox getting a little bit of friendly fire here. That's the second friendly fire incident we've seen, one on both sides so far. But yeah, Sector 2's been captured. Sector 3, you've got Alpha. Looks like it's your guys, actually, with Scandia Recon and the other fire team.
Flooding it as well. Oh,
yep.
Columbia.
Moving in. Columbia are going to take the victory here, but they've got Op 4 Charlie coming in. Players like Banks Anderson. Ooh. It's going to be a great 90-second fight. You already got Willie Pete landing by them, though. Artillery landing on the train yard itself. And Blue 4 smoking. So far, the only person that's died out of Columbia has been Bacon. So most of them are still here, and they're starting to turn and engage Nemesis, getting the drop on one of those Op 4 players, forcing them to move into these buildings and hunker down. That timer is already going. It's actually halfway done. This will be game over in a few seconds. Op 4 doing their best to try to rush in, but there's too many Blue 4 players in Sector 3. This was a 30-minute match to begin. That's great. Op 4 getting grenaded now by Nemesis. Doesn't get the right angles, though. And we've got some of these guys down the second story. They're trying to watch everything here. And just a few more seconds. Wheaton getting shot by Bigma here, and there it is. The third sector taken. Blue 4 with a really great stomp out there. But looking at the roster, only about, I'd say, half of the skulls on Blue 4's players compared to Op 4. Almost everyone, bearing a few groups that were on the northern side, have been taken out. So that was just a pretty nasty sweep there. Just showing you how good a proper strategy is in PvP. But otherwise, that is round 1 done. Normally I play ads, but I would rather talk to my co-host here today. So, Rob, out of everything that's happened the past few weeks with your travels, what do you think, excuse me, would be your favorite thing that you did?
Oh, I don't know if I have a favourite, to be honest, but just to let everyone know, so I basically, as a Brit, went over to the States for 6 weeks, and this was
Blue 4
an original plan to do a couple of years ago, but COVID put it on hold. And I was invited over to Fort Campbell to presentation and a dedication ceremony at 5th Special Forces Group headquarters, which was pretty amazing to go and see how, all these guys and see, like, hang out with the real operators, and the CO of 5th Group, a guy called Colonel Brent Lindemann, really nice guy, a bit of a joker. And that was cool, and the dedication at the museum there was really great. We helped with the museum exhibit there on MacV-SOG. And then I guess the second thing was to go to Fort Bragg, where we went with 6 former SOG guys, and we went to the range and we got to shoot some like SAS rifles that are supplied to
awesome.
current SAS with they had hybrid thermal night vision. We were shooting heated targets 800 meters away in pitch black.
Nice.
That was pretty cool. And then, they don't do things like, oh, let's just go to the range and shoot a Garand. It's like, no, let's go to shoot these, like,
shoot everything.
Amazing weapons that are used by current special operators. It was really great. And then we went to Vegas, and we met all the like about 50 or 60 former SOG members, and we set up a table. We had 3 laptops, a big TV screen. We put the game up, and during the course of the whole 5 days, we were just constantly busy. There was a whole team from Colombia went along. My guys manning the table, and we were filming for a documentary as well. And it was just all go the whole week, and great teamwork, and everyone going having beers afterwards and staying up late and doing naughty things. It was really good. So the whole thing was just a blast.
Sounds like it.
But if I had to pick a favourite, it was I had a couple of days just on my own with Dick Thompson, teaching him how to play the game, and I got to record 3 podcasts with him, and one of the podcasts was about weapons, and I got to ask him about each of the weapons he carried and used, or that his team used, and he went into graphic detail with each one in terms of like how they used it and why, and how much damage it did, and all that kind of stuff, and all of that's going to come out on a podcast soon. And when he described how he tore people's throats out with his K-bar, I was like, practically gagging.
Jesus.
It was like, holy shit, this guy's not joking. It was, and that's not to be like morbidly fascinated by that, but it's just the absolute factual detail of how you use the weapons and why and stuff. Pretty amazing.
Coming from people that have used them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, many times. Yeah.
Jesus.
So that was pretty cool, because you don't often, people, when they do like History Channel things or whatever, people never get asked those questions. They never get to they never feel comfortable enough to like open up and give some of the sort of more sort of realistic descriptions of things that they've experienced, and I think they actually want to tell you about this stuff, and they want to put it out there, but they don't want to glorify killing particularly. But because Dick's just written a book about it, he's been exercising a lot of those demons, and he's been putting it all down on paper, and a little worried about how his family might react to finding out that Grandad has killed 10,000 people. It's kind of, it's kind of, they all know he served in the war, but to put it down in
not the extent.
Terms, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know how many souls he's got notched on his bedpost, so to speak, on his butt, the butt of his rifle. Anyway, that was pretty cool. Just to have that kind of one-to-one time to just really get to know each other. I was sitting out on his porch drinking beer in the evening and shooting the shit and just trading stories and stuff, and that was just a really nice moment.
That's great, man.
And then he's going to be joining RT Columbia and bringing with him his former ranger officer skills. He was a ranger instructor, so he's got a real thing about rangers is they have this mentality of like continuous improvement. And we did like a whole hour podcast about that, which is about doing wash-ups after your mission. And a lot of armor players should think about this if they don't already, is when you get to the end of your mission, take a knee and just review the mission together and work out like what went wrong, what went well, who did good things, who fucked up. And just do it honestly without, have a joke about it. Don't be bitchy about it, but just have a joke and just go around the team and get everyone's input, and you'll all do better. Next time you come in, you'll be a better team.
And I really do appreciate that we do that at the end of every op in RC Columbia, because it just makes us better players overall. But we do have a laugh about it. We talk about what was good, what was bad, and just try to make it better for next week's op.
Yeah, and Ken brought that with him. I like Nightstorm's comment there. Yeah. Christopher Lee obviously served with the commandos, the army commandos during the war, and he was with OSS and stuff. So yeah, he's a badass, and he actually is really good personal friends, or was before he died. He's personal friends with Ken Bowray, and when Ken was ever in London, because he was working with the SAS a lot, he was coming over. He would go and meet Christopher Lee at the Special Forces Club in Knightsbridge, and they would go and have lunch together there and trade stories and stuff. So there's a personal connection to our game from Saruman, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
One step removed. But yeah, Christopher Lee actually, Ken got him a K-bar because he had a collection of military knives and he didn't have a K-bar, so Ken got him a special K-bar.
That's dope.
I was saying to him, how did you get it in the country? And he just looked at me like, he's not going to answer that. Some people can put things on airlines that some of us just have no chance,
Yeah, right.
So they're all setting up for the next round.
Yep, looks like they're getting mostly slotted. It's going to be mainly Blue 4 and Op 4, but Green 4 appears to be a pilot detachment with pilot, co-pilot, and gunner for everything. So we're going to be seeing two Hueys in action here. Basically two slicks from the looks of things.
Cool.
So I'd imagine there might be some transporting going on with Blue 4. Probably in the early part of the mission, and then Op 4 is going to be having a base or something to hold between two sectors.
Well, obviously Bigman's playing, and his granddad is Don Hassey, who was a crew chief on Hueys in Vietnam. Interested to see if they use them as a gun platform or if they're just using them more as transports.
Maybe a mix of both. They got to be careful though, because there is a ZPU in play.
All right, quad 14.5 mil.
Yeah,
I mean, that thing makes a few rounds off of that, and Huey's going down.
Yeah, it's also going to be a big threat for the infantry if they get on parallel with it, or if they're on a hill and the gun's down in a valley. So we'll just have to see where that thing's placed.
Yeah, I mean, just being honest, I've never been fully satisfied with the damage that weapon system does. I actually encoded it, and I feel like it doesn't do what it should do. It's a bit of an unfinished
it's
work.
Still underpowered for you.
Yeah, it's a bit underpowered, I think. Yeah.
Meanwhile, as an Arma 3 Zeus, I've seen that thing tear people apart. literally blown to smithereens. Just have you ever seen the gore mods in Arma 3, like Bloodlust or Barotrauma?
Not really, but I've heard of
Oh,
them.
I've once experimented with an op where we put those mods in, and I accidentally had a ZPU just annihilate a tree line, and there was a full squad of players there, and by the first barrage, there were only about a third of them left, and it was messy, to say the
Oh,
least.
so it works okay in your book. Okay.
Yes.
I needn't
as,
worry.
as a balancing perspective, as someone that works with these assets a lot in the field, I think it's good for Arma 3, Rob.
Maybe one of the team actually fixed it. I was thinking in the last, just looking the aerial view on the last game. I was thinking how well Horrible Goat and Crazy Mike and Temper and Icebreaker, guys in our team that made Hanoi, how well they'd done all the sort of the design of the battle space, just assuming that is them that did that, the planks between all the different roofs and things, and
Right.
the way you can kind of move around and use the space, get up on the roofs, and you can if you don't know already, you can climb all the drain pipes on the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we added that Bohemia don't have on their buildings.
I think the only building I can think of is there is one in Chernarus where you do climb the drain pipe on. I think it's the government building in one of the major towns. Yeah, the town hall on the side.
That's right, and that gave us the idea, because having done that in DayZ back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that building was a bit crap when you got on top, because there's not really any use once you're up there, and there's only one way up and down, so it's like going into a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, you're just gonna get plinked off. But
so one of the things we do when we design a new building or a new area is we're always looking at travel routes. There should always be two ways in and out of something. Got to think like a looter who's in DayZ and he's only got he's got his bag of food and ammo, and somebody shoots at him as he goes in a door. He needs another way out. Otherwise it sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if someone gets backed into a corner and they're able to hold it, I mean, that's what grenades are for. And Willie Pete, gotta smoke him out at that point.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were playing in the dark the other night. Were you on that mission? We were going to the RON site and it got pitch black, and then you have to start tossing Willie Pete's to get. I
remember a few of those we've done in the past where it got way too dark too quick, and we were using Willie Pete's for that brief flash of light for 10 seconds to orient ourselves. That was something way back when. I'd love to do it again though.
Yeah, well, we did do it again a couple of weeks back, and
nice.
We had the same situation where we're stuck in the dark, and then you've got enemy voices right on your ass, and then you think, are they actually right amongst us now? Oh no, and you have to just toss a Willie Pete and hope you don't hit a tree or rock right.
And it bounces back, yeah, because otherwise you're gonna be the one cooking. Oof.
Blacker than a witch's tit, you can't see a thing. So you just have to toss a Willie Pete, get away from everyone else, and then toss it and hope it doesn't just land at your feet.
Oh, man. All right, I think we're going to start the round in just a second. Looks like they have everyone slotted up. Yep, there we go. So it looks like this is Battle of Gaintoy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm actually unfamiliar with that one personally.
I see some of the guys worrying about the bullet damage. It may be that if they're shooting guys with AK vests, then they've actually got some ballistic protection because they've got a chest full of magazines. And obviously the Blue 4 guys, if any of them are wearing flak jackets, it doesn't really have ballistic protection. But
I will also say this to you, though. FNF, they do re-script all the armor values of the vests, so they're all the same thing. So people complaining in here about damage, I don't think is an accurate reflection of the mod itself. I think that's just how FNF tries to do things for balance.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think did Op4 then have they had a Mosin, but they also had no, or did they mostly have SKSs?
They had a choice between SKS's, Mosins, and the ISH double barrel shotgun.
Yeah, so if I think most of them took SKSs, probably preferring the 10-round clip.
Yeah.
But the problem there is it's only like an AK round. So,
yeah,
so
the 7.62x39, whereas the Mosins, the big 5.4 round.
Yeah, they're the big round, and then obviously when you're going up against a Garand, which only has 8 rounds, it's fewer than the SKS. But those rounds are like you can kill an elephant with those rounds.
30-06.
It's a big round.
Ooh. You might know the answer to this, but didn't 30-06 become 308?
I'm not. I'm a Brit. You shouldn't ask me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I believe so.
Something like that.
Somebody in the audience might Google it for us.
But I have that in my head, and I can't remember if it's because I did confirm that or if that's just me being a dumbass with myself. But look at that. They are going to be flying. Oh. I'm trying to remember if this is the mission with the bridge. And last year, if you remember, someone actually was able to kill someone by pulling the lever and opening the bridge and making someone fall to their death.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember that from way back when.
I do remember, yeah.
And then they didn't know that they could bring that part back up and that the lever was on their side. So like 5 of them jumped over the bridge, but then didn't make it to the other side and fell to their death. That was hilarious. This might not be that one, though.
Which part of the map is it? If you scroll out a little, I can...
This is by GLM Airbase. Over...
yes, okay, yeah. It's on the Red River. It's just where the Red River meets the Mekong, or the Chiponi, depending on which bit you're looking at.
Oh my god. I thank you for telling me to scroll out, because if we scroll up, we see 2 places where tunnels spawn. They're doing a tunnel fight tonight.
Cool. When you put the camera in there, you'll be able to like be outside the tunnel and see
watch all of it going on.
Yeah. That's gonna be groovy.
308 is just a shorter round of 30-06, so it's the same size, it's just a different length. Awesome.
Yeah, it certainly feels very, very good when you shoot a Garand. Like if you feel really in control of the weapon, and you know. Yeah, this is Australian versus VC. So
I was about to ask based off of what Mutton Chop said in chat. So starting at FSB Ace here. All right, because the CDLC SOG Prairie Fire, they have New Zealand and Australian forces, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
That's been one of the latest updates, actually. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, along with the Republic of Korea and the Pathet Lao we just saw.
Right.
I think the only major factions we don't have represented at the moment are the FANK, the Kampuchean army, which is in Cambodia, and and their opponents, the Khmer Rouge. So everybody else pretty much is covered. Actually, we don't have Filipinos either. I don't think the Philippines actually sent combat troops. I think they were like logistics and support troops.
So I'm just trying to think with the assets here. This means that the quad 14.5 is going to be probably in one of these sectors on top of one of the hills, which means if the helicopters fly low enough, because I'm studying the topography of this map, I think they'll fly probably on the riverside and then drop off at LZ Queen or Princess. They might be able to dodge the ZPU fire. Princess goes up to 71 meters, but the AOs are up to 200, give or take, so we'll just have to see the angles, but go ahead.
The areas here, I don't know if you can actually go and look at this stage, but the areas where those bunker complexes are, this is what we call them, the Baru village areas, and it's some of the most difficult terrain that we designed in the whole of the map. You've got a lot of hills and you've got a lot of dense foliage as well. It's a real bitch to do foot patrols in this area.
Yeah, I can tell based off of the topography here, just all these steep areas. I mean, looking from LZ Queen, it's going to definitely be an uphill trek. Princess is a little bit better. They can go following the MSR here and then cut across, but even then, I'd imagine Op4 is probably going to set up some pretty nasty defensive lines on these ridges. I wonder what they're still going over, though. Probably the rules of the helicopter use and whatnot.
Well, the problem in this terrain, Liru, is that if you're up on the hills trying to command the valleys, you can't, because you can't see through the canopy.
You're right. So we'll just have to see how the sight lines look when we get in.
Yeah, I mean that northeast southwest running valley there that's above Bunker 1. Just look how steep that is. That's just a ravine, which of course funnels everyone into the same position. Now, I don't know actually, is that a ridge going up or going down? You can't ever tell with contours, can you? Unless you look at the.
So the best way is, I would say, the numbering. So looks like, I mean, up you got these two on the tallest parts, and then it goes down. You got some other tall parts here, so it makes a little bit of a valley right there. You got some saddles in certain areas as well, but Princess, at least from LZ Princess, it's going uphill here, and then even further uphill over here, and then Queen, it's all uphill going up right here to 231.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, so these are just going to be some massive ridges to work with, so we'll see what the player base does.
Yeah, I'm just holding my breath looking at it, really, because that's not going to be much fun to try to get through against a defending force. Sweep and clear through the jungle when they could be in spider holes or anywhere. So they can make their own spider holes as well.
Yes.
Well, that's what they should be doing on the ground level and doing it in amongst the foliage.
All right, so we just got put in. I'm going to go, big briefing here. All right, so Battle of Gain Toy, as I said, this battle on the 8th of November 1965 was fought during the Vietnam War between the Australian troops and the Viet Cong. The battle was one of the first engagements between the two forces during the war and occurred when A Company, 1st Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment, Blue 4, struck a Viet Cong bunker system defended by Company 238, Op 4, in the Gain Toy Hills in northern Bien Hoa Province. It occurred during a major joint U.S.-Australian operation, codenamed Operation Hump, involved the U.S. 173rd... Sorry, I just watched one of the Op4 guys knock out their commander with the turret on the side. That was cute. Involving U.S. 173rd Airborne Brigade, Green 4, to which the Australian regiment was attached. Credits Wikipedia. Notes, the mission features two quote-unquote underground bunker systems, which are in reality situated in the way northern part of the AO. These bunkers can be entered and exited via scroll wheel interaction with small ladders, 10 per bunker. Oh, so there's a lot of ways to get in and out of these systems. Nice. Situated around sites marked Bunker 1 and Bunker 2. Through the use of these ladders, you will be teleported back and forth between the AO and the relevant bunker. And then bunker, exclamation point. Mission rules: do not use AA gun on infantry. Ah!
There you go.
Dang. Op 4 Alpha.
You called it.
Op 4 Alpha and Bravo platoons may not enter Bunker 2, and Op 4 Charlie and Delta may not enter Bunker 1. So basically, they can't just put everyone in a single bunker, because that would be messy at that point. Do not camp within line of sight of any of the internal entrances of the bunker system. Makes sense. That would be a bit cheap. If you fall out of or otherwise find yourself on the floor outside either bunker system, do not move and use the contact staff feature. Do not attempt to gain a competitive advantage by abusing the ladder teleport system, basically no metagaming. And then the area containing the bunkers may not be accessed via any other means outside of the ladder teleportation system. Do not attempt to walk in, run, dive in, or fly to it. Yeah, because imagine the Hueys just circumventing the map, landing on top of the bunkers, and then people glitching in through the rock cover.
Well, people would try anything, won't they?
Oh, yeah. In something like this, definitely. Otherwise, going down, medium anti-tank settings, Blue 4 are going to be using Laws. Op 4's got the B41. Since we're at Blue Op 4, I'll start with them. You got Vietnam guerrilla warfare elements here, so just a lot of chest rigs here, some rice hats, and some bucket helmets as well. I forget what they're specifically. I think pith helmet, actually.
It's a pith
if I
helmet.
recall.
I'm always a bit disappointed to see the rice hats getting rolled out because they were very rarely used by VC soldiers.
Otherwise, loadouts for them is going to be a big mix of weaponry here. They get a choice of the SKS, the Type 56, or the M49, which were captured French rifles. They've also got the ISH shotgun in play, which I'd imagine for CQC in a bunker system might actually be really effective, because if you got a bunch of dudes in a hallway, both barrels will probably clean that up entirely, just like trench warfare. They've got the TT handguns as the secondary. Support weapons is going to be the K50 for the light machine gunners, which that thing just has one hell of a fire rate. That's also one of my favorite guns to fire in this CDLC. And then the PK for the medium machine gunners. Light anti-tank is going to be the B41, and then crew and aviation I don't think matters because they don't have anyone there, but it's the MAT 49. Nothing on crew served weapons and their assets. It's the quad ZPU, which can only fire at helicopters for this round, and a static Dishka, which I'll be curious to see if they keep that outside of the bunker, trying to use it to lock down the ridges, or if they bring it inside and try to make a fatal funnel with it. Otherwise, looking over at Blue 4 real quick. Also scroll by their base as well. Their uniform are going to be the Australian Anzac uniforms. So they've got the nice little hats on, the chest rigs, and that base uniform. Weaponry is going to be a mix of either M14s or L1A1s. And then they also have the choice of taking the 1897 trench sweeper. Excuse me, trench gun.
Look at the caliber of all those weapons. They're all big. They're all big hitters.
That was let's see, the L1A1, which I believe is 7.62 by 51.
Yeah, that's the same as the M14.
Yeah, it's the M14. Both of them are. Both of those are 20-round mags too. I mean, that's wow. That's pretty big calibers to work with there compared to the AK, for example. But otherwise, the support weapon, they get the L2A1 LMG variant, which I believe has the 30-round mags. Am I right?
Yeah, and full auto, and a bipod.
Yeah, so that's going to be, it's pretty much, I was about to say it's kind of like the bar, but the bar only has 20 rounds. But then they have the M60 as the medium machine gun. Land anti-tank's going to be the M72, single-shot disposable AT launcher, and then the crew and aviation guys get the F1 SMG with the top-loading mag, which I always thought was kind of funny because it's got the sight on the side.
Yeah, so you've got that versus the MAT 49 on the other side, and they're pretty comparable. Apart from you can put a bayonet on the F1 if you like sticking people with.
I hope we see a melee kill tonight. I'm trying my best to catch that. Hopefully with trench warfare we might just get lucky enough to see one. Otherwise we've got a lot of logistics vehicles here, 4 transport trucks, and then the 2 Iroquois vehicles. One is just a different model with the the shark mouth in the front. Otherwise, it looks like both sides have the M60s. I'm going to quickly check their ammo count real quick.
500 normally.
They're going to be rocking, oh, which is that, a jet fly overhead? 200 round boxes, 6 mags each, so that's 1,200 rounds. I can't even see the planes, but I can hear them for sure. Might just be a sound effect of them going overhead, but looking over at Green 4 real quick, they've just got the MACV uniform setups, and so the reason I'm checking these guys is because Green 4 is a different faction, they're actually going to be using M3A1 grease guns instead of the F1s, because they are specifically the pilots for the aviation loadouts. So
yeah, they've got the M16 as well up there.
I'm not sure if they'll be able to take the M16s, though, because they only have the crew and aviation slots specifically. But otherwise, people are telling me that is just ambient noise going instead of any actual models, but I digress. Going ahead and looking over at Blue 4, since we're here, Curie is going to be the sole commander here, no 2 or 3 ICs. Sorry, I got distracted by someone pinging me over something else. I'll answer that in a second. Arkane's going to be leading Alpha 1, Naders as his 2 IC. Lolo looks like he's going to be with a L1, A1. I believe that he's going to have a scope for it since he's in a marksman role. Otherwise, Mike is going to be their medic. Mackenzie leading Alpha 1 with Callison, Reapers, and Sandy, Sam, Olaf, and Mutants. Karate Weasel leading Alpha 2 with Jenitin, Butcher, Mans, and Holton under him. Whiplash leading Bravo. Diggs as his 2IC. One of your guys is stepping up to 2IC. That'll be interesting. And then Cullis being the marksman, Grav being the medic, Nemesis leading Bravo 1. He's got Bacon Oreos, Purton, Old Cool, Bigma, and Shannon under him. And then Fetty's going to be leading Bravo 2 with Nick Dobbs, Nomad, Katz, and Iander. So I'm seeing your guys staying close with Scandy Recon, but disseminating between both the teams. So that is quite nice. Otherwise, Pierce is going to be leading Charlie with Fonz as the medic. No 2IC there. Khalil's going to be leading Charlie 1 with Nicholas, Heartseer, Rapier, Renly, and Blast. Skipu leading Charlie 2 with Agents, Giovanni, Pingus, Stark, and Pange. And Stark going for that Trench Sweeper. Again, I want to see what he does with it. Swola leading Delta with Arcor as his 2IC. Patriot leading Delta 1 with Aim at the Balls, Wheaton, Lurch, and Major Khan. Ash leading Gazag and Banks under Delta 2. The 2 vehicle crews go all the way down. It's going to be Malin, Maz, and Valkyrie for Hotel 1, and Oddball, Jack, and Fred for Hotel 2 with the other crew. But looking over at Op 4, we have Cholt ground commanding. Legs is going to be the 2IC, Iqbal the 3IC, Norris as the medic. Flux going to be leading Alpha with Steve being his 2IC, Kabubi, Face being the marksman, and Roster with the medic role. Alpha 1 being led by Arma Jesus with King as Goblin, Artisan, Novix, and Vagrant under him. Michael leading Alpha 2 with Kekir, Dooley, Korvac, Bant, and Rufy under him. Valetarian leading Bravo with Skits being the 2IC, Daler being the marksman, Flaninja leading Bravo 1 with Royce, Fluffy, Shut It Down, and Zally under him. No Bravo 2 from the looks of things. NASA leading Charlie with PHK as the marksman, Pogo as the medic, Wombat as the 2IC. Charlie 1 being led by Bluck, who has the quad CPU in a bunker right here. But he's got Roy the Camper, Bits, Ivno, Lolo, Kermit, and Idiot Wolf under him. No Charlie 2. So we go right to Delta, being led by Bates, no 2ICs or whatnot. Depso leading Delta 1 with Timek, Albin, and Sayak. Delta 2 being led up by Sideways with Coop, Vonk, Pointman, and Waldo. So a few things to point out. We've got Scandy on Blue 4 and the Green 4 group. Pepega is on Op 4. And Rob, the reason I call those two communities out is they are the best of the best here. Right. So it's always interesting to see the power dynamic. And I mean, we saw Blue Force steamroll in the previous round, but they had both of those factions on that side. So that contributes to why.
Gotcha.
But now that they're evenly split, we might see a closer game, especially with that CQC. But otherwise, looks like for Bunker 2, we have the ZPU set up here. We got another small bunker right here as well. And I'm trying to find where some of these ladders are. I've got eyes on one over here, but it looks like these little black highlighted areas all contain various ladders where you can enter and exit these bunker compounds. Looking over at Bunker 1, it appears that, yep, all of these are just out and about. So not a lot of good defensive positions unless Op4 decides to make them along this bunker. But it might actually be really hard to cover all of these entrances with their full player count. So we might just see Op4 have a squad or two outside the bunkers to defend, but then quickly fold into the bunker itself here. But looking at the LZs, looks like we have some permanent smoke effects on LZ Princess to mark them out. We have a really nice area right here in the village of Run Kun with these lovely bridges around too. I always love custom areas like this.
With the levers, of course.
Oh, yeah.
They've all got the levers.
Yes, they do. I see them. So it's that little middle section that falls out. I hope to God we see that in the third round tonight. That would be great. I'm trying to check between the bunkers. I don't see a bridge down, but that is okay. Maybe we'll get lucky for round 3. But let's go ahead and look at LZ Queen here. We've got that permanent smoke effect going in this open area. But from LZ Queen, you've got this steep ridge they got to climb up to get to the 2 bunkers. But at that point, just before they get to the bunker areas, they'll be nearly parallel with them. There's still a bit of a climb to the easternmost bunker, but the northern bunker, they're about right there. And then the climb from LZ Princess is also going to be a bit of a tough one. Because that one from the bunker systems, Bunker 1 can easily set up on the ridge and pretty much lock down that LZ. So we'll see if the Dishka is utilized over in that position. But otherwise, I want to have a quick look at the internals of these bunkers as well. Bunker 2, I mean, just look at how extensive this area is.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Oh, man, this is going to be great to watch. And that's just Bunker 2. Bunker 1 is going to have the same treatment here. Also, very extensive. Oh, man.
Yeah, they're massive. I mean, if you just put the camera inside one of them for a minute, you get a sense of inside the actual tunnel itself. Then people will get a sense of how claustrophobic it is.
Oh yeah. Don't worry, I'll be following the players like this, just to show all of that CQC. Now, what I'm curious about is in standard Friday night fights, there is a role on both sides called the explosive specialist. And I just pulled up Zali's name because he has the little triangle in his unit. So that means they do have them tonight. And usually the explosive specialist gets the choice of 4 items. They get 3 anti-tank mines, 2, a total of 4 tripwire mines, 2 being flare mines and 2 being HE mines. 4 explosive charges or 2 explosive satchels. So I'm really curious to see if any of Oppo are going to take those explosive HE mines and try to set up traps in the tunnel systems themselves. And yes, FNF is 1 life.
Well, they work in the tunnel
do,
systems.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
It is a 1 life battle as well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's not an easy thing to get through. Yeah, I mean, so just remind me of the objective. They're going to try and Blue 4 have got to seize the actual tunnels. They've got to get in the tunnels and seize them. Yeah, well, that's going to be tricky.
There are multiple entrances here. You see with every ladder here is a potential entrance. Both tunnels have like 10 or so entryways to them. I'm trying to track. Yeah, so here you see these little openings. Also, I really like what they've done. They took one of the trench textures to make a railed exit for the openings of the tunnels, which you can connect to other areas. I might actually steal that idea. That's a great one, because usually I use rocks, but it blends in quite well with the tunnel itself. So
Gotcha. What happens when you get to that? You get an action to move through somewhere else?
I don't think so. It's just those dead ends of the ends of the texture, because they've used see how, like, if we go to the center, I think they've linked like 2 or 3 different tunnel textures here. Right here, for example, you see a little break in the black texture here, indicating this is 2 different textures combined together, compared to here where you see them all solid. So this is, I think, 4 different tunnel textures all connected. But you know,
that's right. That's how they're designed. Yeah, yeah, that's
to be modular like that. So these just cut off the other exit points, but it looks like they didn't get them all. There is one missing right here, but that is also where a ladder is. So this is where they transport in. So we'll see if anyone accidentally tries to go for the bigger tunnel here.
Well, that would be a definite bug. Has this been adjusted by the FNF team?
So I think quite simply they do have an audit process for their maps. I think they just might have missed that one. I do have, usually Malin, who is an FNF staff member, does have an ear in the stream. So
okay, yeah, no, I'm just wondering, is this our vanilla tunnel, or has this been adjusted?
These are your vanilla tunnels, just all 4 of them combined to make a super tunnel, but then all these extra ways out have had textures added to them to basically prevent people from jumping out. But I'm just saying, I think they missed one right here, so.
Oh, okay, so it must be, because there's normally, I think they normally should have those things blocked automatically. So something's gone wrong somewhere
with that
here.
script then. Gotcha. I thought they did them manually, because I wasn't aware that they actually did that.
Yeah, no, there's a little earth thing, like a ramp, which basically fills most of the ends of those. But I think it's done by our tunnel module. When you set the tunnel module, it actually blocks the ends, and it's the idea is it randomly reconfigures the tunnel, so that every time you use it, it's different.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think this is the tunnel module, though, because that would indicate that there's a tunnel entrance itself, but all the entrances here are custom teleporters. So I don't think it's that system. I think this is them building their own custom composition to make that type of system work.
Yeah, but I didn't realize because we've never used it without the module. I never realized that you didn't have the ends blocked on all the ends. So that's something we should fix. That's a bug.
Well, at the same time, I actually would have, from a creator standpoint, I think leaving them open is fine to then let the mission makers do stuff like this to block them off. Because if they want to, again, this is 4 different tunnel textures built together. So if you blocked off the entryways, you wouldn't be able to have something like that.
Yes, I see.
So I think it's fine. Maybe if you wanted to put that work in, you could have I'm trying to think, maybe an option where all of the, you know how buildings, when you go to the Eden editor, you can see all their doors?
Yeah.
And you can like set them to open or close. Maybe you can make a system like that where it labels all the opening ways as doors, and you can set them to be open or closed. That's just me spitballing. I have no idea if you could code it that way.
That's a great idea. But we should do that, because you can use the door animation source to basically have the things hide and unhide.
Also, we've spent way too long in those tunnels. I didn't realize the round started. My bad. But looking over here, it looks like we're just catching the beginning of the action here as Blue 4 deployed everything. I didn't get a prompt saying the mission started. I was too busy in the tunnels. I guess I just missed it because we were talking. But
in the tunnels, Liru.
I want to see the tunnel fighting, but looks like Op4 have set up most of their guys outside the tunnels. We've got 2 major groups of, actually 3 major groups of Blue 4 here. One major one that went up the driving route, probably dismounted in Bruh, and is now coming around encountering light resistance, but that resistance is certainly stopping them. We have another group of Blue 4. This is Delta. I just saw Gazog take a grenade to the face as they try to push up this big ridge here from LZ Queen, and then LZ Princess has 2 squads deployed. They haven't run into contact yet, but they might soon, because Bravo have set up on this ridge, and they are getting ready with AT to potentially fire at any infantry coming in. But I'm going to go back to the easternmost group here, because Op4 is certainly outgunned, but they are holding. Oh no, bro, speak please. Roy tries to come up to flank, but he is immediately taken out by Whiplash. These are your guys coming up here.
Yeah, go Columbia.
So far, it looks like only Old Cool is unconscious here, but he just woke back up, so your guys are just steaming through Op4 here. We just saw Roy wake back up, though, but there's Blue 4 literally. Oh! And he gets shot in the ass by Whiplash.
The sneaky Mexican.
Grav, meanwhile, he's a bit on his own. He's by the dismount point of these trucks. Op4 have sent a few guys down as Grav tries to hold it here. Gets a smoke grenade throw. If that was a regular grenade, he might have gotten a kill there. But otherwise, we have Blue 4 just steamrolling around. They're also coming around the northern side here. But Op4, they tried their best to hold this area. Diggs just got knocked unconscious again, though. And I thought I heard a helicopter going down, but no, it's just because it's flying off. I forget the exact term. It's the something effect, where if it flies away from you, it sounds like it's going down, but in reality, it's just because it's getting farther away from you. Wow, grenade just went off in front of Old Cool's face and did nothing.
He's in amongst the buttress on that tree. Right.
It's the Doppler effect. Thanks, guys. This is why it's fun to stream. If I don't know what something is, I can just ask chat, and 4 or 5 people will come up and immediately know what it is.
I'm immediately thinking we need to redo the texture on that shovel, the Australian, because it stands out like a sore thumb. It's bright white, distance log.
Yeah. See, and this is why it's fun to have you here, because you get to see your mod in action, and you get to see it from a playtest point of view, and see what needs to be changed and whatnot. I love that.
Never get to switch off when you make the game. You're always looking for things.
Constantly evolving it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm loving that I'm seeing the grenade use back and forth here.
It takes some skill to use grenades well on slopes as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I went right up to Kermit. He gets his head blown off. Poor Kermit.
We asked the SOG guys which grenades they preferred, and they always said the M61 because it's more of like a rugby ball shape, you know. The round baseball M67s will just roll back at you.
Right. So it looks like Columbia is holding where they dropped off as Op4 tries to flank around to them. I just heard the ZPU get a hit on one of the Hueys. There's a very distinct sound all helicopters in Arma 3 make when they take damage, like a bit of a crunching on metal sound or something. It's funny, though, when you make scenarios for years and you play them through, just all the sounds that you distinctly hear of certain effects going off. It's amazing what you end up catching on with.
Yeah, half the DLC is the sound.
Oh, yeah. And that's another thing that this mod, excuse me, this, sorry, I didn't mean to belittle it by saying that this CDLC does. The sound play is amazing. Like when you're in a tunnel, for example, which we'll see soon, hopefully, you can like hear all that nitty-grittiness of being in a tunnel. You can occasionally hear dirt falling from the ceilings. Your footsteps are more muffled. It just sounds quieter down there. But the voices also carry through more, as if it's an echo. I love that about the CDLC.
Yeah, I was asked before, like, what was my one, if I had to pick one thing out of the whole thing that I'm most proud of, and I've always answered the same question, the same answer, which is Dennis's sounds. He's a one-man army. The guy that made the JSRS sound as well, so he's got a lot of experience with the Armor engine.
Great stuff. I'm doing all right, Michael. Thanks for asking. So it looks like Bigma and Shannon are down, unfortunately. They're just holding the line against this Op4 counterattack so the main group can get into Bunker 2. It looks like Op4 have started folding out a few guys into Sector 1, but not necessarily Sector 2, so we might see Op4 not be able to put anything into the Bunker 2 system, but definitely they'll be able to get some stuff in Bunker 1. But I'm just watching your guys trading back and forth. I think I saw Bacon Oreo. No, it was Old Cool. He got a great GL on Ivno over here, who's on 3 kills, mind you. So I'd say your guys are definitely doing a good job here.
Yeah, well, that's Old Cool sees Caleb. He was with us at the range with Mac v Sog firing the Garand, and he certainly fired his fair share of the ammo.
Nice.
These guys are bunching up a little.
Yeah, gotta be careful because we're seeing GLs and grenades being thrown around.
But you see what I was saying about it being quite a dense jungle, this area.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the most... Because we couldn't put dense jungle on the whole map, otherwise you'd have really, really bad FPS. But we made some areas really dense, and this is like the most dense area on the map.
It's nice. With all the cover, though, that the trees provide, explosives going off, because there's so many trees around, it's going to really mess with those physics of the explosives. You know, shrapnel getting caught up in the... Oh, ho, ho! Oh, you'll see that in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't... It helps stop fragmentation, but if the explosion happens to be on you, it's not going to help you there, Chief. All right, I'm going to cut away. We're going to look at Blue 4's main assault on the surface of the Bunker 2 complex here.
Just to answer Mutton Chop's question, yeah, the rules at the beginning of the game are that you can't camp the entrances at either in or out of the tunnels.
Yeah, it's quite bright.
See what I'm saying about that shovel?
Yeah, very bright. I was highlighting it because of what you said, but yeah, no, I completely agree. You can really spot that thing from a mile away, all the way up here. Jeez.
That's what happens when you use a Bohemia model for your kit. Whereas the one that's on the back of that one there is nicely done. So it's an Arma 2 model, I think, actually, not just from Blade Bohemia. It's a very old model. We were just being cheap, and I think we shouldn't have been.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't look good.
Oh, that CPU just got multiple hits on the Huey, at least 5 or 6, but she's still kicking.
You can use the shovel as a melee, but not the one that's on the rucksack. That's just stuck there.
Yeah, as part of the texture. All right, so Blue 4 have gotten a lot of stuff done here. It looks like the previous fight where your guys were. It's turning a little bit as Op4 starting to encircle them.
And it's like a last stand. It's
yeah.
They're stuck in the depression there as well.
They're certainly trying, but cut off from the rest of the group. They're not having a good time here.
Who's the team against them? Because they seem quite experienced. That they've split into two and forking them.
So it's PHK, NASA. These guys are from another large network of communities called OFCRA. They are guys that right now they're doing 150 player ops on Thursdays that are PvP. I would love to potentially get them on to... Sorry, I wanted to watch PHK come up and clean up the rest of those Blue 4 players there, but I'll, if you want, I can see about potentially doing some SOG Prairie Fire stuff there as well. Cool. It's the same time of day as right now, but on Thursday instead of Friday. Yeah, but now Blue 4 had their own guys loop around with Bravo, and now they're starting to encircle Op4 as they close the gap here. And now you see them getting torn apart in the same way most of RC Columbia did, unfortunately.
There's some long range fighting. Oh, right behind.
And then people are getting right behind each other and eliminating too. Just goes to show the extent of the fighting that's going on when you have, as you said, the thickest part of the jungle here. But it looks like Blue 4 are going to start entering. All right, here we go. Lolo on point here. Not going to be able to use the third-person camera to cover this, but you got people starting to come in to these bunker complexes here. And then Sector 1 also has all of Op4 full into that bunker. I might watch Bunker 1's fight more than Bunker 2, because Bunker 2 only has a handful of defenders in the sector itself. And I'm also noticing some of the areas of the bunker don't actually fill into the sector itself. So if Lolo gets one more guy in the Sector 2 area... they'll actually start capturing the sector, but it looks like some of Op4 is coming back to the sector itself, so that might be a little bit of an oversight on the FNF staff. I was hoping it would encompass the entire bunker area, but I guess we'll have to see. Lolo, I've just also noticed, he's actually run pretty deep into this area. Looks like he's coming back up, though, but I'd imagine this size of a complex, it's going to be very easy to get lost.
Yeah, this could turn into a bit of a shit show of guys all running about and not able to find each other.
Right.
If you've got like an even number of dudes in the zone, then they're just gonna sit there and not find each other. Doesn't have the collapsing wall of death like you have in Battle Royale. PUBG.
Yeah, so there's Sector 2 being captured because they have more forces in there that are actually there in the sector itself, even though Blue 4 has a pretty sizable amount. Oh my gosh, Bates just fell down the ladder.
That'll happen.
Yeah, you gotta be careful, guys. If you slip, you're gonna hurt yourself. All right, so if this is the case... I'm going to watch this area for just another moment or two, but I want to look over to Sector 1 because that's going to be... All right, they're starting to enter.
So how we designed these tunnels for the stream, we made the same tunnel system and then basically changed the layout of each one. And then we had 4 different ones, and then we used different combinations of those 4 to plug together like 4 corners of a square. And then that's how we made each tunnel. And there's 7 of those.
Oh my god. Great compositions, but so this is Stark, who I was talking about in the beginning of the stream with the Street Sweeper. And he even poked me, actually, at the beginning of the match, saying bunkers in all capital letters, and then saying, and the shotgun has been acquired. Mwahaha. And right there, we just saw him get a beautiful double kill. And I was telling you at the beginning of this round, a shotgun in the Fatal Funnel, with a bunch of people in there, it's going to be a mess. And let's see what Stark is able to do as well. But so far, he is still the only guy in this tunnel system. I feel bad for Op4. Because they're all in there with him.
I'm going to step out for a minute and get a beer while this is going on.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
I shall be back.
See you in a second. All right, there's Sector 2 being captured there. More people just fell down the ladder. You have 3 people unconscious here now. What the... What happened? What? They just... What the heck happened here? Oh, man, but... All right, Stark missed that shot on Roofy. I'm gonna be honest though, this is probably one of the most fun streams I've had in quite a while. To be perfectly honest, it's great to be here with someone like Rob, who he is a project lead for one of the CDLCs here. I've met project leads for mods. I've got good ties with the 3CB devs, for example. Oh. We got some tripwire flare mines going off too now. But this is just such a blast, in my opinion. Like, I'm genuinely smiling in ear to ear here. It's great. But now all of Stark's buddies have come in here. You're getting a sense for how claustrophobic these tunnels are. And just goes to show everyone moving up slowly. You got Roofy locking this area down right here. A grenade getting thrown. Skipoo about to come around, but he decides not to. You've got Roofy now. He's going to turn the corner. Might get some beautiful shots here. And Stark blows his head off with the shotgun. Now he's on 3. This is round 2, Ilbanek. Ah, telling you, man. Shotguns in tunnels. It's a match made in heaven. Winchester 1897, go brr. It would be thunk, thunk, wouldn't it? We got some grenades being thrown in here. Sector 2 now not being captured, but if all Blue 4 goes in there, they should be able to take it. Really, to scroll out real quick, you still have 2 Op 4 guys, 3 Blue 4 guys, 4 Blue 4 guys in that original firefight area, and then more Blue 4 coming in. Another prompt for Sector 2 to be captured, but again, the main fight is going to be here in this tunnel. You just heard someone else get taken out. That's right here. Oh, is that Stark going down? And there's another one. So you got Royce watching this left side. Oh, that's a grenade. Real quick, I just want to go into someone's first person. I want to see if Stark got taken out. Yes, he did. Ah, that's a shame. And now you got Op 4 counterattacking here, but they're red on redding each other. That was Flux engaging with Royce as they're trying to come up to counterattack, but not sure if Flux noticed yet. He's going to come around. Now he's going to realize they're friendly. So that was a little bit of a misplay there. But now you got more Blue 4 coming around. And it looks like they're deciding to fold back from this area here.
A lot of Blue 4 in the tunnel now.
Stark's telling me he actually got shot in the back of the head by a friendly right here. Oh, that sucks. But yeah, the assault on Sector 1 is pretty heavy here, but Op 4 still maintain the number advantage. Sector 2's tunnel, Blue 4 and Op 4 are... I think Blue 4 has a slight number advantage, actually, and they've realized that if they just stay there, they can take the sector over time and then leave and then go help with Sector 1's push, because I think Sector 1's fight, it could really go either way, but you occasionally hear grenades going off. I mean, look at this from this view. You've got 4 Op 4 guys, 5 Op 4 guys in this one little tunnel area here, and Blue 4 are slowly coming down. But this is how tunnel fighting worked. You'd have a lot of blank rooms, but then one of those rooms, there would literally be 5 or 6 guys just waiting there to shoot you. And then up.
Hit Vipers falling out of the ceiling and all sorts of
Oh yeah, crazy traps. Dooley, meanwhile, coming up and counterattacking. Multiple Blue 4 guys getting killed in this meat grinder here. Now you got Flux moving up to continue that push. Swola getting taken out by that Type 56. Going down a room. We just had an M60 gunner get taken out as Vagrant pushes out to counterattack. Oh! A Molotov cocktail being thrown. Wow. Lighting people on fire. Holy shit. Stop, drop, and roll.
One used to piss on him.
Oh my god. More Molotovs being thrown. Everyone down here is on fire. All right, there's Sector 2 being taken. Op4 now trying to counterattack, but they put themselves in a position to be engaged on both sides. Oh my god.
Kicking off.
You still hear the burning screams. And the double taps. That was a great play. Yeah, I think Op4 might be able to hold Sector 1 here. Oh, we got Lurch holding the doorway, but Kane is able to come up there and take him out with that K50. He's got drum mags with it, too.
That thing was a brass function.
Yeah. Its fire rate is absolutely insane. That's why I love using it. Anderson hasn't realized, oh, but Kane only had 1 round left in his magazine. Oh, but a grenade got thrown up here, and that knocked out both Anderson, Swola, and Giovanni. And now you got Arcor and Ash. They're going to pull back to the ladder. Kane running up. And just clears them in the fatal funnel. Giovanni wakes back up, though. Doesn't realize what's going on as Blue 4 is just getting immediately repulsed from this tunnel. Smoke grenade being thrown. Yeah. Blue 4, they came in here with a massive number, but they're immediately being counterattacked. I think Giovanni just accidentally shot Swola, and he quickly teleports out. Oh.
Fortune favors the bold, eh?
Definitely. Op4, as soon as they started doing those counterattacks, quickly turned the tide here. King is now trying to sweep this tunnel for anything that is still alive. And I think Op4 might have just sealed the deal on the victory here. Just looking at the sheer amount of guys still in this tunnel, you do have a few Blue 4 guys still in here. Op4, they've, at the other tunnel, still have a few guys, so does Blue 4, but outside of the tunnels, Blue 4 only has a handful of guys here. We might see the helicopters land and the pilots get in here because Blue 4 is just running out of numbers. Dooley just got a great double kill. And is trying to melee Gazag, actually gets the melee hit on Gazag as Gazag hits him with the M60. Oh, we got a melee, Egg Beast. We got a melee.
Yeah, we did. I saw it.
I feel like a kid in a fucking candy store. Both wake up at the same time. Dooley whips around first and gets him. So Dooley was able to get all 3 of these guys. That was great. And that is that bunkers complex completely secured again for Op4. Oh, that was a rush. So, I guess the question is, how is Blue 4 going to attack again? I don't think they can. They don't have the manpower. We see some of Op4 picking up Blue 4 weapons. That was quite common. Actually, only in some instances. I know there's stories that they wouldn't take M16s because of how often they jam compared to Type 56s, but here I'm specifically talking about, we have Cake here, and someone else just picked up 2 M60s, and I think an M60 with those 100-round mags for a CQC tunnel would be great. It was King that took the other one.
Well, the thing about the K50 is you have a higher dexterity value when you've got that weapon, so you can move and turn a lot faster than the dude with the M60.
Right. But it looks like Kane took the M60 in favor of that, because I think I see his K50 on the floor here.
Yeah, and look how many drums they had. I didn't realize it, you know, that's a lot of weight.
A lot of ammo there to work with. But FNF, yeah, go ahead.
It's almost worth tactically in this situation ditching your rock, so you're not carrying too much weight.
Oh yeah, so you can just be super mobile.
Yeah.
Fluffy running into Giovanni. Giovanni's got his M14 on full auto, but he wasn't able to line up a shot. But now you got Cake here coming up the side. Giovanni running with his back to the area, but he gets taken out by Cake here, who has that M60.
carrying a lure, which you don't really need.
Oh yeah, you can drop that at the tunnel entryway. You're not going to need that, and even if you do bring it down, they are running Ace, so you're going to backblast people. Or yourself, because of how tight these tunnels are.
Somebody's fired one, look, because there's one on the floor.
Yeah, there's a spent one. I just heard one get launched, so someone was trying. Got someone wounded down here. But yeah, I'm just gonna basically hold over. Sector 2's been completely emptied. I think we're just having some red-on-red incidences here as people might be mis-PID each other because they see the guns first. Oh, now we got another wave of Blue 4 coming in. Let's see how they do. They just got one with that trench sweeper shotgun there. Gonna watch from Holton's POV here.
Of course, you can slam fire this weapon. You just hold the trigger down and
right.
empty all 6 rounds. Just don't pull that buckshot on.
Wow, Artisan tanked 2 of those. And then the M60 gets him. Hey, still the only one in the tunnel here, scrolling out to the rest of the map. We still have only a handful of Blue 4 and Op 4 guys around Bunker 2, and then the full crews of the UH-60s, which are eventually going to land. But I think at this point, it's going to play out to time, unless we see the pilots make the call to land and the crew get out. All right, let's see if Wise can be the one-man wonder here with his M60. He has 5, 10, 13 people in this complex to take out. You know, a strategy he might want to work with, though, is finding bodies of people he takes out, taking their grenades, and then moving forward with those grenades.
Yeah, that would work. That's
yeah, so we can constantly have the ability to clear out corners and whatnot, so we can be incredibly cautious. Oh, but King comes up with his own M60 and takes him out. Well, at least King can resupply now, and then behind him, Dooley also has an M60, so there's at least 4 VC members around here with M60s to hold this tunnel. That is a nightmare when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't got much room to maneuver, and if you have like the rate of fire on an M60, you know, between 600 and 800 RPM, because the hotter it gets, the faster it cycles.
Right. So I'm trying to go back to where there's other players here, because there were 4 Blue 4 guys out here. Now there's a Green 4 dude that's landed as well. I think they're getting confused on which sector to go to, because Bunker 2's already been cleared out. It's Bunker 1 that needs to be taken. But it looks like it's because there's some Op 4 guys here. Bates is actually firing at a Huey, but he is on 4 kills, so we might have actually eliminated 3 of the 4 Blue 4 guys that were out here. Because I don't see them in helicopters. Doing a quick skull count. Yeah, so Curie is the only Blue 4 player still alive. He's got both of his crews down, so it's like 7 versus at least 14 or 15 players right now. So I think Op 4 is going to be able to hold.
Yeah, I mean, you figure that would be the case. Just, you know, anyone trying to take these bunker complexes, you're going to need a 3-to-1.
Oh yeah.
You know, numerical advantage really. To start with.
I would say the fight, though, for the first bunker was definitely 1-to-1, but after Op 4 decided to counterattack, they just completely took Blue 4 by surprise there, and were able to just completely wipe them out. But I do enjoy that Bates is trying to get into angles where he can shoot at the helicopter because the ZPU was destroyed.
Yeah.
So now he's, Bates is trying to use his PKP here, firing at the helicopters, but the gunners are still on them, so they're engaging where they can, and now you've got the other Huey starting to land. We do have Korvac nearby, though, and he does have AT. I'm surprised he's not trying to run over to that helicopter, though, but one of the members of the crew was just knocked unconscious, as we do have another OPFOR player in the vicinity. This is G-Legs, and he's actually picked up an L1A1. And he's trying to run down to find another angle here. So he's getting shots on Valkyrie, who had 2 kills, by the way. So he was probably the gunner for the Huey.
Got him.
But he is now knocked out, and we have G-Legs and Korvac pushing that position. But it looks like Bates was taken out, either by Fred. Actually, Fred and might have been Curie, but it also might have been the helicopter that's still up in the air. Wow, grenades being thrown and landing really close to G-Legs. You actually see him taking a few wounds there on his appendages. And then King has actually left one of the bunkers here, and he's gonna run right in. He doesn't even know what's going on, and he gets taken out as he tries to leave as Maz guns him down with the grease gun.
Very controllable weapon.
Yep, and now Maz is taking fire from down slope. That is G-Legs trying to take him out with that stolen L1A1. AT fired up at the Huey, but it's a miss. And now they're firing down at, who is this member of Delta 1 here? Depso. Oh, and Maz just got taken out by G-Legs L1A1 there. Green 4 down to 5 players, I believe. No, 4 actually. Another rocket coming close, but doesn't manage to hit that Huey as it lands, but you've got Korvac loading the Huey rocket here, and there it is.
Kaboom.
And that is Jackson knocked unconscious, and we are down to 2 Green 4 guys still up. There's the 15-minute warning called, grenades being thrown around. That one goes way over, though. Lands in a tree, actually. Oh, man, and now you've got Flux coming out with an L1A1. Cake here coming up with the M60, double tapping dudes. Jack has woken back up. Depso has decided to steal the other Huey that's landed. Because of course they do. Jack trying to kill, actually gets the kill on Cake here right there. Is Depso gonna run up and kill the pilot? No, he doesn't. He's caught in a reload as 2 members of the VC are above him. He gets one. Gets the other.
Oh, this is epic.
Jack, the only one still up here.
Not seen him. He doesn't know he's there. He hasn't heard him.
And Depso is still right here. Might run into him now. No, he doesn't. Double taps and screaming. Depso now might look over to the left and see him. I think he just did.
Shit.
Oh, no, he doesn't. He pulls back instead. I think Jack blended in with the Huey wreck. As G-Legs is now flying around in that helicopter, I guess, for the hell of it. So Jack's doing some quick bandaging here on 5 kills right now. Will he become the one-man wonder? As Savi says, will he channel his inner Audrey Hotto and be successful? But I don't think so, because Depso just found him.
Shit.
Ooh. So we have a running joke in FNF. There was a player by the name of Audrey Hotto who maintains the kill record in Friday Night Fights. It was a 3-way fight for a single sector. Audrey Hotto's entire team got wiped. Depso gets the double tap. Last kill there. OPFOR wins via kills. And we still finished with 14 minutes to spare. But I digress. He was able to one-man army win the fight after the entirety of the rest of his team got wiped because they were the first of the 3 to basically get killed out. And then he fought both other teams and managed to rack up about 23 confirmed kills, possibly 25, on his own in this amazing, I think, 45-minute round. And it was truly something that I don't think I'm ever going to see again. But it's just, if you want to see one man just absolutely annihilate everyone, but methodically, that would be the round to watch. But we always, when someone is left on their own, to try to clutch it for everyone, we have the joke of they got to channel their inner Audrey Hotto to win the round. And sometimes they get close, but they're never able to make it up to how Audrey Hotto did it. All right, this is round 3. I'm going to start changing out my commands here.
That sounds epic.
But what have you thought of over these past 2 rounds? What's been going through your mind?
Well, I figured the Australians would have a hell of a job getting into the tunnels and taking over them. I mean, once somebody's dug in there, they're so big and so complex and so difficult. You know,
Yeah.
when you're a defender, you just have to camp a corridor, you know, and wait for someone to stick their head out. I mean, we've all played Call of Duty and search and destroy game modes, and some of those game modes they have, you know, and you get in a good position like that, and it's a funnel, right? Someone's got to come down there eventually, and you know, fortune favors the defenders. So that's what we saw, really. They couldn't get a foothold. But that was epic. It was kind of breathtaking watching it. It was really good.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'm just writing up my commands because I always like to cycle. I've got a command that talks about what the round is, what assets they have. I've got a command that brings up the map. So we have Op 4 with an 8% numbers advantage. They're going to be fighting for 3 blue 4 sectors. We got a BTR 40 and another SGM turret, but this one has a shield.
Cool. Of course, you're stuck in one static position sitting on that thing, so having a shield does help.
It's a morale booster, you know? It makes you think that you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think I was watching the new All Quiet on the Western Front on Netflix the other night, and I noticed the German machine gunners in that were wearing steel breastplates, you know, that they used to wear. Because they're going to take so many rounds. Well, as soon as you start firing a machine gun and that muzzle flash is on all the time, everyone's firing at you. Because they just want it to stop. It's interesting. Sitting out on his porch, Dick Thompson was talking to me about how, you know, when he was out doing recon in SOG, they would have he would hear the enemy using an RPD against him, and then he'd know that this was a serious unit because they don't give RPDs to, you know, to like if it was just a few guys out hunting food or something. No, this is a serious squad. And then he would also listen during the battle, even with all the firing going on. He'd be listening to where the RPD was moving, because that would tell him a lot about what the enemy was actually planning and what they were doing. I thought that was really interesting, that you, in the middle of a battle like that, you're fighting for your life, you're surrounded, you're kind of doing all this stuff, you're still listening to like what the enemy's actually movement is based on the sounds of their weapons, which gives you a sense of like what a skilled warrior the guy is, doing everything that he can to, you know, to know where to send his team to survive, which is why he's still sitting there on his porch, you know, now in his 70s.
Right.
And there's so many other people that he fought against who you know, aren't.
Jack coming into my chat saying he's frustrated with his last stand because every part of his body was orange, so he was stuck bandaging. So the last guy that was still on that hill then came up and hit him. That was Depso. But hey, that's what happens in PvP, man.
That was epic to watch, Jack.
Very.
You did well.
Captain Morgan with a comment in the game chat. Yesterday was the Marine Corps' birthday, and today is Veterans Day in the U.S. My liver is not doing too well. I got a buddy in the Marine Corps who is retired, but he's the exact same way. He was drinking yesterday, and today I'm going to have to hit him a message to make sure he's okay, because he's probably drinking too.
Yeah, Semper Fi, Devil Dogs. We have quite a few Marines in our team.
All right. Looks like they're starting to get slotting done. Third round usually dips off. We're only going to be sitting at about 82 players, so this will definitely be the smallest we've seen. But with that number advantage, we might see 38. Nah, it would be like 37 or 36 to 43, 44 perhaps. If not slightly more skewed, but we'll see.
Oh, and this is the Battle of Long Tan, so this is a rubber plantation.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be raining. And then there'll be lots of the whole battalion of VC against the small rifle company of Australians.
It does explain why Op4 is attacking here, yeah.
Oh, yeah. An interesting movie, you know, the Danger Close, the Battle of Long Tan. I'm sure most people have seen it. If you haven't, go and watch it. It's on Netflix. It's one of the better Vietnam War movies.
Mm-hmm. What do you say are some Vietnam movies that get it right?
Well, that is definitely one of them. I mean, that's right up there in terms of the quality. Hamburger Hill, also a good film. Very underrated film. Came out about the same time, just after Platoon did, and Platoon won all the Oscars and everything because I mean, it was a very cinematic, very metaphorical movie. It was about, you know, Barnes and Elias, like the sort of good and evil voices on your shoulder, you know, when you're the young recruit and all this kind of stuff. It's about the soul of the American soldier. It's all bollocks, you know. It's kind of literary sort of, you know, wanking basically. It's not about the war at all. It's a sort of lyrical, polemical sort of, you know, it just goes up its own arse. But it was a very, you know, some great battle scenes and epic music, and everyone loves the film. You know, it was a really great film, but it's just veterans watching it are kind of like, what the hell am I watching? You know.
Right.
But Hamburger Hill came out, you know, on a much smaller budget, on its hanging on Platoon's coattails, and Hamburger Hill kind of got it right. You know, that's a really, really good film. I did like Full Metal Jacket, but again, it's very stylized. You know, I mean, the first hour is just a carbon copy of Boys in Company C, which Kubrick was really obsessed with. And then the second half of it is basically taken from Dispatches by Michael Hare, which is a great Vietnam War book. You know, so it's kind of got some brilliant sources going into it, and of course R. Lee Ermey's drill instructor's absolutely legendary. And he was the real deal. So you know, so that is a good film. It's just a bit weird. It's like a film in two halves. I think for me the best war film I've ever seen is Black Hawk Down.
That one is very nitty-gritty.
There are just moments in it that you know, it just absolutely rings true in like every single aspect that you see. You know, the way soldiers get cut off. One of them goes deaf. You know, the fact that just the look of panic in people's eyes and stuff. How they kind of have to dig deep each time and get going again, and all the sort of building up of pressure against them, and how they kind of have to, you know, once that, you know, that rescue column comes in, you know, and it's, in itself it needs rescuing. You know, it's
right.
Absolutely amazing film. I've always thought the fighting in that film is some of the best capture of. I've never been in combat myself, but looking at that, I've always thought that must be exactly what combat is like. You know, it just rings true. It's an amazing soundtrack. You know, Lisa Gerrard sings on the soundtrack. She's a brilliant vocalist. She was also in. She did. What's it called? Gladiator and a few other things. She's got an amazing. She's the one that sort of sings like a really soulful sort of tribal kind of voice. Yeah, and then just a fun fact: when I was at Fifth Group's Legion Week a few weeks ago at Fort Campbell, just dropping some names, I was with Vernon Ward, and Vernon Ward in the 90s was the guy managing all the air support on the day during Black Hawk Down. We had a few beers and I just sat and listened to all his stories. It was great fun.
I'm going to quickly soft log the server. Because they unslotted everyone, and sometimes that breaks your ability to slot, so... There we go. All right, so I think they're just going to be wrapping up sliding in a few minutes. But how about this? Is there anything... Obviously, you know, with NDAs in place, I don't want to pry too hard, but is there anything out of the SOG Prairie Fire DLC that's coming that you can talk about, or you're excited to talk about, or anything specific in the DLC you are excited to talk about specifically? Because I'm always curious for, you mentioned sound design already, is one of your favorite things, but what else?
Well, I can't talk about anything we're putting into the next update. What I can say is we've kind of reached the limit of what we can financially do in the DLC because we still need to pay our team off. So there's a so we've got another update to come, and it's quite a big update. And we're going to have fun with that. You know, we'll do the sort of teaser release, you know, beforehand like we did last time, because that seemed to be really popular. People enjoyed it. Where every day, you know, for like a couple of weeks, we'll just be posting up new screenshots of new content in our Discord, and we did that during the summer for 1.2, and that went down well. So that's going to come out, and then after that we have some other plans which we're not allowed to talk about yet, but we will be able to reveal soon. So we're not going to stop creating. It's just we can't do it in the same way currently because there's not enough money in the pot. You know, there's still sales going on all the time and everything, which is great, but it's trying to pay off, you know, all of our team's work. And we kind of feel that we've got to a point where we need to sort of come up with a different model. So there's something in the works there, which I can't really go into. But what we can talk about is things that aren't going through the Bohemia DLC pipeline. And one of those is like a companion game mode to Mike Force. You know, we brought Mike Force out and put it on Steam, so it's not something that goes through Bohemia. Therefore, we can talk about it because it's not part of the sold package.
Right.
You know, we can say we're doing this or that, you know, but it's not promising something that's part of the paid package, which is what BI want us not to do. So yeah, we have a new game mode in the works, and we haven't given any details out on it yet. But I'll give you some idea that it's going to be based on your character in MacVSOG, and you will be able to level up and skill up your character. So that's about all I'm going to say. Think like an RPG, like Skyrim or something, but in MacVSOG. That's what we're aiming for with it.
Could I pry a little bit and just ask what it might compare to the Old Man DLC then? If you've ever played it.
Yeah, we're aiming for like four to 6 player co-op. So that would be different. I think Old Man is single player.
Well, I mean, that alone is a great addition then, because I know a lot of people liked Old Man and wanted a co-op version of it with, you know, similar RPG elements. So that sounds great.
And then you know, the focus is going to be on leveling up your character and you know, picking your MOS and then changing a few things about, you know, like having different like player builds you can load up like you do in say Payday or you know, in other games where you have a predefined player that you've been leveling up yourself, and then you can kind of bring him to the party and play with your friends. and then your friends might have, your medic and an engineer and whatever, and you might say, right, I'll switch my build and I'll bring my level 9 whatever, So yeah, there's going to be some fun designing that.
I can't wait to see it.
Well, what we want to do there is develop it into our game 2. And game 2, we don't have any kind of contracts for or anything at the moment. It's just something we're talking about. But part of going over to the States was to cement all the relationships behind what we're going to do in the next game. And what we do have is we have the rights to a whole bunch of veteran memoirs, and we have them on board to do some voice work and other things in the follow-up game. So that's, we're really focused on SOG very much for the future as well.
Well, I mean, if it's anything like what you've already put out with SOG Prairie Fire, again, I'm excited for it personally. So we'll see how it all goes.
Yeah, and then obviously we're looking at what engine comes next, and it's either going to be in Fusion or Unreal 5 or something similar. So we've been looking at beautiful film of rendered, tropical forest in Unreal 5, and just thinking, imagine playing Recon in this kind of
that
forest.
type of terrain, yeah.
It is just beautiful.
I remember also there were some images released in the Infusion engine that showed off the jungle. And it was also a fairly thick jungle as well. So I've been keeping track with Armor Reforger. So hopefully the frames will still be okay with it being such a thick jungle there. But, I mean, those are two great options, both the Infusion and the Unreal engine at their current states. So I'll be curious to see what you go with.
Well, we have a good team, and the team are all very interested in working together and continuing together. So I feel like we've built a strong foundation, and in SOG Prairie Fire, and obviously in the background, of course, we've created roughly $1 million worth of physical assets in terms of the 3D models of the vehicles and the guns and the characters and all the rest of it. So if we do go and inject that into another game, we already have most of the assets. All we need to do is polish them up a bit, and
right.
And we can focus on narrative and on game mechanics and all that kind of stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun future. Of course, there's no idea of timescales.
If we have to wait and see.
Yeah, if we even start work on it in 2023, I'd be surprised because we've still got a lot of support to do for Arma 3 in the meantime. So we're going to be running the two in parallel for some time.
All right. Well, now I have something to look forward to, especially. So that's great.
Well, we thought we could try out the game mode, that we develop with the role playing. And then basically, if that really takes off and people really love it, then that would form the sort of core of what Game 2 would be.
Looks like you also have a question from Mutton Shop.
Yeah, Utera. Yeah, I know all about Utera. I've been watching it for many years. The Titan IM sort of engine thing. I'm not sold on whole world sort of game engines. There's VBS does blue as well. There's a few things like that where you can get the whole globe and you can have players build Paris and another player might build Rome and somebody might build the Western Front in World War One and whatever.
Liru, here
and
is
you
a
can load it
resupply.
all
I'll be
in and
back
have it all
later
as
if the
part of your
stream
globe.
is still going on.
That's all great if you like flying B-52s from Guam to drop bombs on Vietnam or something. But if you want to actually have a game like here, you've got to be in a small area, right? You need an attractor that brings everyone together, and they don't want to have too much time to get to reach target.
Right.
So you don't need world-size maps unless you're doing world-size battles. So I think maybe in the future somebody will develop a game where you can play on a whole globe and you can choose which country you're going to be in. And I think Titan did that, or Titanfall, or something.
One of
There
them
is
did, yeah.
some game like that where you have this whole enormous like but a constant battle going on. So I'm sure people will come up with things like that. But for sort of small scale battle fighting like we have here in Arma, small maps are perfect. You don't need like big maps for them. I mean, who wants to fly for like an hour and a half? Planet side, thank you. That's exactly it. Yeah, planet side. So, you know, some of those, there's a role for games like that. But I don't see that as being of interest to people who are playing sort of first person shooter, tactical battlefield games. You kind of just want a really good quality, high fidelity, small cell size terrain, which means you've got really good undulating terrain, and that's what we have here. The Bra map is only 5x5 clicks. The reason that Razorback designed this map this way is because you have really dense terrain grid, 1 meter, which means that you can get really interesting like holes in the landscape and little areas you can hide. And you know, if you look at the landscape here compared to Kamlo Nam, you'll see, because Kamlo Nam being so much bigger, you know, here you'll see much more fidelity in the design of the landscape. A lot smaller. It's like everything's much more finessed in this kind of terrain. So you know, so anyway, so
when they got the rain going, by the way, that you called out.
Oh yeah. So why do you need a whole globe, you know, in order to, you know, in order to have this kind of fun? And that's my question. You know, you'd always have to focus on certain small areas of it, and I think it's a bit of a gimmick. But call me wrong. Maybe you know, see what you guys think.
All right. Well, let's get into our final mission of the early branch. This one made by Whiplash. So, background, Battle of Lantan. Am I saying that right, Lantan?
Yep.
All right. Which was the 18th of August, 1966. Took place in a rubber plantation near Lantan in the Phuoc Toi province of South Vietnam during the Vietnam War. The action was fought between the Viet Cong and the People's Army of Vietnam. Units and its elements of the 1st Australian Task Force, 1ATF, Australian Signals Intelligence, SIGINT, had tracked the VC 275th Regiment and D445 Battalion, moving to a position just north of Lantan by August 16th. It was positioned near Lantan outside the range of the artillery at Noi Dat. On the night of the 16th and the 17th, of August, mortars and recoilless rifles attacked New Dat from a position 2 kilometers to the east until counter-battery fire made it stop. The next morning, D Company 6th Battalion for the Royal Australian Regiment departed Noi Dat to locate the firing positions and the direction of the enemy withdrawal. D Company found weapon pits, including mortars and RCLs, and clashed with VC midday around the 18th of August. Area of operations. Sector 1 is located on a rubber tree plantation. Most of the river is in the AO is walkable. Sector 2 is an old-fashioned old abandoned French fort. Blue 4 rules. Blue 4 mortar cannot be loaded in vehicles. Makes sense. All right. I don't know why I hit the escape button there. Otherwise, Blue 4, in terms of kits and gear, they're going to be the Anzac forces again, so the hats, chest rigs, and the undergarment there. They get a choice of Mark 14s or L1A1s, as well as the trench sweeper shotgun if they want to, as well as the 1911 handgun. Support for the light machine gunners, they get the L2A1 LMG or the M60 for light machine gunners or medium machine gunners, respectively. Also, for you, Rob, that is Malin coming in as an admin just to talk to people about certain things, and as you can see, he just disappeared, so just in case you were wondering what the purple guy was doing there. Otherwise, continuing loadouts here, we have the M72 Law and the F1 SMG for your crew and aviation. Otherwise, looking back over to Op4, if I were to scroll out and jump in, Op4 are the Northern Vietnamese Army kits, so they're going to be PAVN today. Pith helmets and mix of chest rigs. No rice hats in sight.
Yep, good.
All right, their loadouts are going to be a mix of pretty much the weaponry we've been seeing. SKS's, Type 56's, M49/56, the French rifle, or ISH's for the shotguns, TT's for the secondary handgun, K50M with drum mags for the light machine gunners, PKs for the medium machine gunners, light anti-tank's going to be the B41, crew and aviation get the the MAT 49, which is important because they do have some crew slots for that Dishkovik. Speaking of, they have the BTR 40 to work with, that Dishkovik I just called out, an SGM with a shield that they can carry with them, and 5 transport trucks. Otherwise, looking on our roster, Vagrant's going to be commanding the offense today. Grav is going to be the 2IC. Nelson is going to be... Actually, no, Grav's the medic. My bad. Nelson is the 2IC. Also, Eggbeast, they have a script called Sav's Briefing Table, which on this table gives them a miniaturized version using... You know set scale commands?
Yeah.
It's basically using assets with set scale commands to make a client-side representation of the terrain that they're going to.
Wow.
Using trench textures for the ground and then miniaturized versions of the buildings and whatnot. It's actually really cool, but because it's set client-side, we don't see it. But... they do, but they do it because that's to make it playable, because if everyone loads it in, then it gets quite framey.
Got it.
But regardless, Nemesis is going to be leading Alpha, Arcane as his 2IC, Katz as the Marksman, Cullis as the Medic, Whiplash as Alpha 1's lead with Old Cool, Purton, Oz, Bacon, Bigma, and Shannon. I hope your guys have been having fun, by the way.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out after this round. Iander leading Alpha 2 with Kabubi, under him with Carlson, Dobbs, Nick, and Steve. Looks like there is no Bravo lead. It's just Bravo 1, which has Giovanni leading Rapier, Naders, Mike, and Agent. Ash leading Delta with Swola as the squad medic. Delta 1 being led by Banks with Major Kane, but the balls Anderson and Arcor. Mackenzie leading Delta 2 with Rufy, Wise, Maz, and Waldo. Olaf leading Echo with Lolo, Reapers, and Sam under him. And then Gamma, which is going to be the BTR crew, which... Are they wearing naval asset stuff?
Yeah, they are. I'm very proud of the Navy guys. I think they're very cool.
No, I agree with you. I just find it funny that they're using those for aviation players or crew players for this one specifically. So that's going to be Norris, Bates, and Schultz rocking the mats as well. Otherwise, looking over at Blue 4, we have the following players down. Depso commanding again. Tymek as his 2IC and Patriot as the medic. NASA leading Alpha 1 with Ilbanek as his 2IC, Lolo as the marksman, and Pogo _ as the medic. Bluck leading Alpha 1 specifically with Goblin, Kermit, Ivno, Roy DeCamper, Pange, and Wombat. Bravo, no Alpha 2 actually, so it's just going to be Bravo being led by Valetarin with Skits as the 2IC, Daedalur as the marksman, Flaninja leading Bravo 1 with Thumper, Zally, Nomad, and Royce under him. Bravo 2 being led by Morgan with Jack and Lurch. Charlie has Arma Jesus leading with Michael as the 2IC, Korvac as the marksman, Flux leading Charlie 1 with Dooley, Bayan, Idiot Wolf, and Artisan. Notably, I think a lot of the Pepega Pirates members have left, but also Scandy is only down to a handful of guys as well. So this is going to be a battle of a lot of players I normally don't give the spotlight to, so we'll see how that all plays out. Otherwise, Echo is going to be Fawns and Renly. Echo, I believe, is the medium anti-tank group, so it's just another AT player because they still have the M72 Law. And otherwise, Hotel, which is going to contain the helicopter, has Pierce, Nichols, and Heartseer. This is a Huey Iroquois, I think D, based off of the model. And it's got the 2 side guns there. And then you got G-Legs and Khalil as a Gamma crew for the 113. I think I just realized we didn't go over Blue Force stuff real quick in terms of... we went over weaponry, we didn't go over assets, that's it. So they got the UH-1D Iroquois, I was right about that. The 113, a low M60, and then an 81mm mortar. I was really hoping Stark would stay on for round 3. It doesn't look like that was the case, though, because that man knows how to use the mortar. There's people that can say they know how to use the mortar, but I've seen Stark in an FNF match months ago. He literally wiped out like a third of the team within the first minute or two. Because he knew exactly where to put the mortar rounds, but we'll see who instead gets put on that mortar. But most people, unfortunately, in FNF do not know how to use those mortars properly. So I'm hopeful we'll get something interesting going on, but hey, c'est la vie. Anyway, Sector 1 is the rubber plantation, which we have a lot of trees down for. Oh, we've got, a down Cobra over here. Interesting. But otherwise, the 113 is right here just outside of the sector. A lot of craters and build up here to make this terrain look like, yeah, very small hills here as well. Is this the... Wow. So I think Whiplash used, you know, the new Deformer mod that came out a few months ago, right? Yeah, so he used Deformer to raise the land here and make it hilly. And that's why I love Deformer so much, is you can take any existing map now and just completely change it. So, I mean, this goes on and on here for quite a bit, and then eventually starts petering off, so that's great. And then you got a little Agent Orange area right here, too, where I guess Napalm might have scorched the spot, too. But this is a really nice rubber plant here because you just got all the trees, you got a lot of wreckage, you got some of the buildings close by. That's a great Sector 1. It's going to be really tough to defend, though, because it's a very big area. And then you've got Sector 2. The old French fort. This one, though, what are your thoughts on this? This looks pretty cool.
Yeah, well, it kind of looks like it's been dumped in the middle of the jungle. It doesn't really like fit. So our terrain guys, I'd be saying, "What the hell have you made?"
Well, I think that's this is Whiplash, because if you notice, everything's black highlighted, which means it's all custom placed. And I think again he might have used Deformer to set this all up.
Yeah,
so
but it looks like a great PvP battlefield. I mean, that's
the focus, right?
Yeah,
I think he's done some great work. And I'm going to say, as always, because Whiplash, he occasionally submits a mission in FNF, and he just completely changes something up. It's really cool to see. So...
yeah, I mean, because you've got all the different... you see what I was saying about the cell size and the fact that the landscape, you know, the way it moves and everything. How close you can have a high bit and a very low bit. It can be very close together on a small cell size. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So here, like where these guys are standing, if you look off in the distance, and you've got this like undulation, you can see there's different high points and low points, and you can have so much more density of that in a low cell size map. So small terrains like 5 kilometer by 5 kilometer are absolutely the way to go for really good PvP.
All right, well, we'll see how this round goes. Based off of what Blue 4 is doing, it looks like they're going to stick with their force split here, having the first half cover Sector 1 and the other half potentially staying at Sector 2. We might see a fighting retreat out of Sector 1 to get to Sector 2 here through these jungles as Op 4 follows right on their heels. So we'll see how that goes. We got another place where Napalm landed. I, again, love the small detail here. And the scorched trees and everything.
Yeah, this is all new content we put in 1.2, which hasn't been seen that much. It actually glows in the dark as well. So, so if you put the lights out, you know, all of this stuff, the embers, they kind of have a...
There was, for Halloween, Whiplash made a bit of a Vietnam horror mission, and he had this out, and it was pretty dark. But yeah, no, I saw the glowing effect. It was really nice.
Just saw Mutton Chop asking about the decal on the Huey door. It should be the 9th Squadron, I think. If that's what you're wondering. Notice all the pop-ups coming up are nothing to do with our DLC. Yeah, 9th Squadron.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see what this chopper does here. Having some air support, I think, is going to be great. But regardless, Op 4 mostly staying on the riverbank here, so they might be able to just travel up on the side and then directly attack it. And then back here, I think they just have, yeah, the vehicles ready to go, essentially. They're just going to have the BTR-40 drive up. And again, I just find it comical that they used naval uniforms for the crew.
It does make you kind of stand out when you're wearing white.
Yeah.
When we first were designing the DLC, we only had the Navy units because Vassal had made these guys before anything else. So when we were playing on the very first version of Cam Lao Nam, we were only able to play against naval units. So we kind of got bored after like 3 months or 4 months of just playing against Navy guys all the time. But if you look up real close to them, like the stitching on the back of the, you know, like I don't know what you call the thing that like hangs over their neck, like the blue thing. Just look at the way he's rumpled the
Oh,
material.
yeah, you can see that.
If you look on the
Wow.
back of him, look on the back of him, like right on his back, and then look down a bit. No, I mean, yeah, there. Now look at, yeah. See the white lines, like how they've got that that rippling in them, like on the thing, because it's like it's been sewn, and then you can't really see it that close up, but as you come back a little bit, you'll see that.
Oh yeah, you can then really see it. I get you.
It's kind of bumpy, you know. It's like how he's made it, and that's Facel. Now Facel's our lead character artist, and he's he has a background in actual fabric handling and clothing design. So like he spent his early years actually designing clothing. So he worked for various fashion organizations.
There they go.
And that's him making our uniforms.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he made all the uniforms in the DLC.
All right, and there's the mission start. I'm going to follow Op4 in here, and then we'll take a look at where Blue Force set up their defensive lines.
Yeah, there's a name for the Navy thing. I can't remember what you call it. I should know. My dad was in the Navy as well as I was, so I just don't know the bloody name of it. Look at these guys go. They look like a regular NBA battalion.
Right.
They don't have the sort of shock troop sort of look with all the bushes on their helmets and on their backpacks, like some of them do. And the ash faces and the ash-covered faces.
Right.
Those guys are pretty scary when you see them coming in,
Yeah.
coming at you with a whole team.
All right, so they're coming right up to the coast, and they'll start coming around the bank as I predicted. We got the Huey in the air, a little high. Not sure if they'll be able to see too much from up there specifically. And then we have the freaking double rainbow out there. But let's see, Blue Force defensive lines all around the sector, and even outside of the sector, probably doing some early reconnaissance to try to find where Op4 is going to come from. And it looks like they've actually all pulled out of Sector 2 as well. They're going to try to completely hold Sector 1, which that's going to be a pretty interesting one. We'll see a lot of really close fighting here if the PAVN guys are allowed to get close. Ooh, wait, are they going to do a river cross? Oh, all right.
Well, the river is what gives this map its name, the bra, because it is a bra shape. It's like it looks like a pair of tits.
So it's quite possible that Op4 might try to loop around and hit Sector 2, and then after taking Sector 2, go for Sector 1, but the distance is a little too great for something like that to happen. Because the whole point of taking something out from under someone's nose is you don't give them time to then adjust. But just this is about a kilometer of distance here. So by the time Op4 would then get to Sector 1, I think Blue 4 would completely reposition their forces to hold the northern side. So instead, we might just see them sneak into Sector 1 from the north and then go to Sector 2, or possibly divide their forces. But we also have some Blue 4 guys traveling up the bank on the southern side, moving east now. So if Op4 is not quick enough with this maneuver, they could be spotted and caught out of position. But these Blue 4 guys might not be entirely content with going all the way down there because they don't know where Op4 is coming from, and they would potentially overextend themselves.
You can see what I was saying about the terrain at this point, how much more immersive it is compared to our bigger maps.
Definitely, you were saying how thick the jungle was in Kamlau and saying that that was the thickest part, but I'm noticing about that same jungle density here. Because it's a smaller map, you can put more assets down, so...
Yeah, but what you'll also see is how much up and down you have in the terrain in a very small area.
Right, the roaming hills here, you're exactly right.
Yeah, and that's because the cell size is 1 meter. So it's like, if you imagine you're building with a net and you're deforming that sort of like net, but you only have 1 meter between vertices.
Right.
Compared to on Kamlau Nam, where you have 5 meters. So because it's a 5 meter cell size, you basically when you're deforming the terrain on Kamlau Nam, you're between 2 points is 5 meters. And on here, between 2 points is 1 meter. So you can make a much more interesting terrain. See, like from this point, where his vantage point, how the terrain drops off in front of him, and then immediately goes
back up.
off. That looks much more realistic. If you see the typical armor hill, which is kind of almost parabolic in its shape.
Right.
Here you can actually get much more sort of sharper defines in the terrain. I know that's a bit nerdy, but in terms of PvP and in terms of really interesting battle space, smaller cell size is the way to go.
No, I agree, because it just creates a lot of good defilade in the terrain here, and it also allows you to just do a lot of maneuvering without just having constant open area around you, because it's not always constant open area. So especially for PvP, as you said, that makes it a lot more interesting, because you can get pushed a lot harder.
Yeah, you hit it on the head with defilade. That's basically what you create when you create more player choice.
Right.
That makes it tactically much more interesting terrain to play on. You compare it to something like, I don't know, Takistan, a big desert map with a lot of flat terrain. I mean, it's a beautiful map. We all love it. It has a beautiful blue dawn and dusk and things like that. The lighting on that map is incredible. But when you look at it as a tactical map to play on, it's kind of limited.
That's completely understandable.
It's a great fun map to fly an Apache and shoot off-board tanks with.
Right. Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, that's one of the things I love about Arma. Is just how you can have all these different terrains in one game and all these different experiences.
No, I completely agree. I mean, that's why I've built my whole life around it, because you can just do so much with it. Because at the end of the day, it is a sandbox.
This is kind of giving me LZ X-ray vibes, looking at where these guys are here with all the grass and everything.
Right.
Of course, we have an LZ X-ray op tomorrow night, which apparently I'm a squad leader in. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to turn up and do it.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but that's going to be Digby's, and there's apparently going to be about a little over 100 players in it, so we'll see how the server lasts.
Well, he's quite an experienced battle host, so I'm sure he'll have it all planned out.
Oh no, I'm not trying to diss the man. I love him, but I just want to see how it goes. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and a few weeks ago I had the fantastic opportunity to sit down with a guy that was actually a company commander on LZ X-ray and fought in the battle. And he's telling me about the time he ordered his team to his squad, his company, to fix bayonets. And you're like, holy crap. But yeah, he was represented by an actor in the film We Were Soldiers, because he has a Special Forces badge on his arm. If you actually rewatch the film, you'll see there's a guy there with a Special Forces badge on his arm, and you'll be thinking, oh, what's that guy doing in the middle of all these air cavalry guys? And that's Tony Nadal. That's because he was actually a Special Forces officer who blagged his way into Hal Moore's unit and went and commanded a company during that battle.
Nice.
Trivia.
All right, we got some OPFOR that have come up. The BTR 40 has actually come up and has started engaging, firing into Charlie 1 all the way back here. I guess they spotted them through a shit ton of bamboo in the middle of some elephant grass, so sightlines, man. But we got Nielsen and Norris on the southern side as well. I've also noticed every time as Op4 were crossing this open area that you dubbed as LZ X-Ray, or at least it made you think about it, I saw Op4 were ducking into the tall grass when the Huey would fly over to effectively hide from them, and every single Op4 member was able to hide properly. And then as soon as the Huey started flying off, you saw them all start moving again like ants, quickly falling into the rear of the platoon formation.
Oh yeah, that elephant grass works very well for concealment. Yeah. Works really well against AI. You can sit in there and they'll just run past you, you know, looking for you, go around in circles. There are places in the campaign we've used it many times to hide.
At Ron sites as well, I remember that's one of the big ones.
Well, that's the briar bushes, which are slightly different.
Ah. Now we got mortars going out. I think the whole point of Gamma here is to help bait out some of the artillery early on, so that it's not an issue for the major force that comes in. I think they are going to just completely go around and hit Sector 2 first before they go to Sector 1. Yeah.
Good luck, Sector 2. You're about to get hit by a red wave.
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone at Sector 2, though. I think they all went into Sector 1.
Oh, well, they can use their helicopter for urgent transport, can they?
Right, but they'd have to know that Sector 2 is getting hit.
Yeah, they'll only know that once
they're actually there, yeah.
Unless they get seen by the Huey on their movement. So they've got to do classic VC NVA tactics here and not be seen from the air.
Drum, shoot me a message on...
As I was saying earlier, they need to have those.
You don't have Discord. If you have Discord, shoot me a message there. I can shoot you the mod set. Otherwise, I'll find a way to get them to you, buddy. Sorry, I was answering a question in chat. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's scary when you see this many number of red markers going through the jungle.
Az, yeah, DM it to him. Thanks, Az. I appreciate it.
The freaks, you know.
Yeah, right?
I'd hate to see that coming towards me. I mean, if you actually use the debug mode when you're playing the campaign, you can actually put the map on and see when you've got the full avalanche coming for you in green hell. You can actually see them all on the map, and that really is quite a scary thing. Never quite realize how many enemy are coming for you.
Oh yeah. Now, some of my favorite missions to do for my players is while they're extracting, usually they're really good at maneuvering, so they'll never see it, but I've got at least 2 or 3 platoons chasing them. Like a good 80 to 90 guys towards their LZ, because at that point I can delete everything else. But if they're not quick, if they're very slow and they're just lethargic to get around, they will get overwhelmed, and it gets very, very messy.
Sure does. Happened to us enough times. I mean, it hasn't, because we're so experienced now. I know it sounds like blowing smoke up our ass, but when you've been playing these missions over and over and over and learning after every mission, and you know, get to a point where we never virtually ever get overrun anymore. You know, so you kind of forget that that's even a possibility.
Right.
But of course, when you see other guys play the missions and they're not that experienced with them, you know, they get absolutely stomped and they think, oh, these missions are crap. You know, because they don't get the experience. You know, that you've got to learn and adapt. You see this terrain. This is what I'm talking about. This, how beautiful the terrain is. You won't see that on Tanoa because again, that's a 20 by 20. It's literally, it's not down to the artist so much as it's down to the cell size.
And that's just a limitation of the engine itself. With I think the application is called Bulldozer.
Yeah, and when you make a 20 by 20, you've got a 5 meter cell size, or that's the lowest you can put on a 20 by 20.
Right.
And then for here, you see this, like the undulations. You come up a hill and then it goes down a bit, and then it goes up again, and then it goes down a bit.
Right.
All of that, like this is so beautiful. It's so much more realistic. And it gives you so many more choices.
I guess the only thing I'm worried about for the mission itself is time. So it's going to be another 5 to 10 minutes to go and take Sector 2. That's going to leave us with 27 minutes, and it's going to take another 10 to 15 for them to actually start assaulting Sector 1. So that's only going to leave them with under 20 minutes to take the remaining area where Blue Force full garrison is. So it's going to be a very quick and dirty fight.
Yeah, it's a 1 meter cell size. Do you think, looking at it, it looks like they were forking in, they were splitting the red
Yeah,
14.
so they've split into 2 groups here, I guess, to do a pincer maneuver on Sector 2, which is smart, to potentially do a southern and a western attack. But what are your thoughts?
Well, the southern element might be a blocking force to sit tight and just protect the southern approach between Sector 1 and 2. They can then dig in and just defend the approach.
Right.
Would be my guess. Yeah, the guys are picking up in the chat about the cell size. Yeah, I mean it's a sort of it's a bit of a geeky thing to pick up on. You can just see how it makes a much more rich playing environment. Everybody wants bigger maps, but the bigger they are, the less fun they are in terms of the cell size.
You can hear those damn birds.
I suppose in my ideal world, we would make like 10 maps that were all 5x5.
Right.
Rather than, two big maps or 3 big maps. I would much sooner make a lot of smaller maps because they're much more sort of interesting and fun.
Hell?
But you have to make one big map like we did with one big airbase, so that people can use all the jets and everything.
Yeah.
5x5, you can't really use jets very well.
So we just had
there's no airfield here.
a little bit of blue on blue there. Patriots High-Mech are in a few bushes right now as the BTR-40 has just pulled around, but just some small updates for what's going on. But continue. Sorry to cut you off.
No, carry on when the battle starts, man. We're close.
Yeah, right? We're still going to have some downtime, though. Maybe we'll see Patriot and Timec ambush the BTR-40 crew, but again, we're not going to see combat for another 20 minutes at the most because of the plan Op4 has made here.
I guess if that was me playing possum when the vehicle went past, if they heard it coming, they could have run out and put a satchel down or something. That would have been my play on that if I had something.
Right.
Oh, they're going after it.
Yep, trying to watch Patriot come up here.
And where you want to lead here is a couple of grenades. Just take out any disembarked crewmen.
Oh my god.
As soon as he's passed, now you can get him.
Oh.
On,
there's the headshot.
Beautiful. That's the gun now.
Oh my god.
Now what they're going to do? Yeah, look at that. Need to deconflict and not shoot each other through the vehicle.
Oh, we got in the driver's seat.
Oh my god, it's armor glitching. He's off. He's not coming back. Probably hit a rock and go into space.
Oh my god. They're trying to put GLs on him.
Yeah, they've got 7.6251. They can penetrate the wall of that vehicle. They just need to hit it.
The trick is to hit it, though. He's still going.
They sent him packing with his tail. He's got a 51 cal.
And you got Nelson up here just chilling and trying to stay hidden, but the antenna might be partially given away. But even so, I mean, the rest of his guys just got hit, unfortunately. Now you got the Huey trailing. But Norris reached the edge of the map, so now he's stuck over here.
He has to come back.
Yep, now the Huey's getting in on this.
Oh, yeah, that's it. As I say, that 7.62 round off the M60, that'll go straight through the side of that vehicle.
Yeah.
There's no protection at all. Hey, Ice. Nice to see you. Ice was with us at SOAR in Las Vegas, meeting all the SOC veterans. And he actually went and broke the ice with all the South Vietnamese guys and the King Bee pilots.
Nice.
And made some new friends there.
That's great. Thanks for joining us, Ice. Oh, now he's trying to use the frontal Dishka.
Yeah, the thing is, it's got such a limited arc of
fire. He got him.
He did.
Oh, but his foot's still on the pedal, though, so he's going to be driving in circles.
Until he gets too deep in the water. And then
now he's stuck.
That engine's going to cook off.
Chopper's putting more rounds in for good measure.
Not an amphibious vehicle. Just looks epic, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It's one of the things they really did well in Arm 3 is the water impact effects.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. So I'm going to point something else out real quick. They never went up and captured Sector 2. I think they went around it to see if there was contact, and they're going to leave command back here to eventually capture it, but now they're sending all their forces to the south because they don't want to give away that Op 4 is all the way up there because that prompts everyone. So you do see that there's a Blue 4 squad out here trying to look for where Op 4 might be. That's Alpha 1, but now Op 4 is going to just turn everything around south. That's going to buy them a few more minutes because now they don't have to wait around at Sector 2 to take it, and they might still have an element of surprise, or at very least, Blue 4 is still going to have defenders on the southern side as they try to figure out where Op 4 is.
Oh,
so,
good call. So they've already recce'd Sector 1 and Sector 2. They've realised it's empty, and so they've changed tactics. Well, that is very clever.
Yep, and they're already, well, actually almost halfway to Sector 1. But in doing that, that tells Blue 4... so let's say they were to capture the sector. That means Blue 4 would know that their opponents are on the north, so everyone on the southern defensive line here in these two areas I'm circling would then adjust north instead. And then you still have forces down here patrolling around that would then go north because they know, okay, that's where the enemy is. So by not taking it and not giving the enemy that information, Blue 4 is still spread out in all these areas trying to figure out where Op 4 is. So that's going to mean the northern defensive line is still weak, and then you'll be able to have Op 4 just sweep and clear that.
So do you know what I do here? If I was Op 4, where it says D Company on the map, I would have
there is a mortar,
three groups of Op 4 split and sit in an east-west orientation.
Right.
So you've got basically Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3, and you've got these corridors in between the groups. I would sit there and wait, and then get your guys to go in and ping Sector 2. And if any guys from Sector 1 start moving north, they're going to pass between those groups, at which point you annihilate them.
All right, I need a BRB 1 second, a bit of an IRL emergency. I'll be back in like 1 minute.
Okay, I'll take over the mic. Right, you're all my victims now. So, well, I guess we've got a fairly static camera. I can't do anything about that. Still, of course, famously in the Vietnam War, the rubber plantations were kind of out of bounds. You know, that you weren't really allowed to engage anything in the rubber plantations because they were owned by French companies like Michelin, and the French companies would say, you know, you have to pay for every rubber tree that you damage. So you couldn't be coming in there and just dropping napalm on them and all this and using artillery and stuff. It'd be interesting to know what happened after the Battle of Long Tan, whether there was some, you know, like endless stream of letters going backwards and forwards about the damage to the rubber plantation. But north of Quan Loy, which is where Ghost Rider Don was based, you know, there was a famous called the Plantation, and you could not engage anything in that plantation, you know, and that's where the VC used to camp and spend their spare time because they knew that no one was allowed to shoot them. Crazy times.
I am back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So Op 4 are within a few hundred meters of the first sector. You still have this one team out of position here. That's Alpha 1. When the shooting starts, they might be able to come in and do some flanking on the rear, but I fear Blue 4 is just way too spread out to effectively counter this massive wave of forces that are going to hit them. Blue 4 does have a mortar somewhere.
Yeah, so rule number one of any infantry engagement is you always need a flying company, right? You need a group that can react to the situation. So you have all your guys in your various tactical deployments, but you need a reinforcement company.
Yeah.
You need a group of people who can react as the thing starts to unfold. As the battle starts to unfold, you need a team of guys that can move and they can flank the enemy. And right now, all I can see is guys that have all been deployed, and there's nobody in reserve.
So, Command just made the go-ahead to start taking the sector with air forces, and then as that started, the mortar position was immediately engaged. Idiot Wolf took quite a few shots, he's bandaging, but now the mortar's under threat. Lolo I'm a little worried about, because if he angles this mortar around, he might hit this palm tree. And he would possibly blow himself up at that range. But with the mortar position now on the front line, that might get taken out very quickly and easily. But let's see, looks like Command's stolen the BTR-40, but as I say that, the mortar is being fired. Looks like the shots are going a little to the right, though. Oh, but there is an Op 4 guy under them. Seeing some rifle grenades going up here. Olaf got blown up. The mortars didn't really have a lot of spread, though, which is unfortunate. Now they're starting to spread here, but a lot of rounds going into this position, which unfortunately is not where one of those two major Op 4 groups was. If it managed to land where Delta was, though, that would have been incredibly nasty. And look at that, he hit one of the palm trees. Probably just hurt himself with that.
Yeah, you called that. Yeah, look at him. Yeah, he's moving it now. You just called it. You know your armor, that's the thing.
You gotta be careful, that's why you need an open area for it, because otherwise you're gonna blow yourself up.
I'm seeing a lot of flares and smoke dropping as well. Is that from artillery or?
So the smokes are thrown, but they can also be used from a UGL. Actually, I don't know if that's the case here. So I think these are all thrown. I don't see any flares though, but I know the mortar might have smoke and flare rounds as well. Yeah, but I thought I only saw AG.
Yeah, I saw a flare land a minute ago. I was just wondering where it came from.
Oh man, and then you got, look at this. Nemesis right on top of this Blue 4 position here as Alpha for Op 4 pushes in. But Nemesis, oh my god.
That's when you need a frag.
Oh man.
Go Nem, go Nem.
Ah, man, you're right. He needed that frag, though, but this is going to freak everyone out. Willie Pete detonating right next to him as another guy gets knocked out by it. Oh, man.
Yeah, if those little trails of Willie Pete touch you, you'll fuck.
Yeah. Oh, they do damage you, and it hurts. It really does hurt. But I just saw Roy toss a grenade over to the left. That explodes next to Kabubi and Nick. Great throw.
I think there's a little bit of explosive damage resistance in some of the foliage, so you know the guys hiding in the foliage are likely, even with grenades right on top of them, they may actually survive.
Oh, mortars landing right on top of them.
One of the things
just saw. These are your guys getting mortared.
It's the dirt effect in the explosions.
I think RC Columbia just took a few casualties there, unfortunately.
Yeah, Whiplash and Diggs are still up.
They're up on the front. I think it was Shannon. Yeah, so Shannon's down, and I think I saw Old get taken out, but we got more mortars coming.
Yeah, that's his son.
I think Op 4 just tried to put a rocket on the Huey, but it missed. This was a massive group of Op 4, though, and a lot of them are getting cut down. Blue 4 just might be able to hold this one.
Well, they've got quite a good, what's called like a curtain of
right?
Stopping
wow,
more Op 4
6 kills
coming in.
This is a very brutal front line, but I mean, we got players like Royce up here with 6 kills right now. They're doing a great job holding the line. You got the Huey. 2 people just jumped out of the Huey into the river. One of them hit the riverbank and got knocked out. The other one was able to be okay, but I think going at that speed and height, I don't think he would live.
Can you drag him out of the water
Oh!
before he drowns?
Mortar's securing more kills. Looks like he woke back up though, so now they're gonna try to get behind Op4 and engage them. Where's Lolo? Lolo's on 5 kills with that mortar.
Well, you've got the Huey, so he's obviously going to spot where the
PLF.
and then they'll radio the water, I'm guessing.
Looking at the map breakdown, I want to look at the skull counts too. Blue 4 and Op 4's numbers are pretty even right now. Op 4's definitely taken much more casualties than Blue 4. And that 8% number advantage Op 4 started with, I think, is nullified at that point. But with how stalled this attack has been, they've made some gains, but not a lot. Alpha 1 for Blue 4 is now getting on the rear of Op 4, and they might be able to hit him from that flank.
So what's happened with Sector 2?
Oh, right!
Have they moved into it?
Sector 2, so Ground Command moved in. He was the only one that needed to, because there's no one there, and he was able to take it. And as he started doing that, Op 4 initialized their attack on the southern side. I think they made that call just for the sake of making sure they had enough time to make this assault, because 20 minutes left, and the fighting's getting very, very close. But Steve going down to Fonz, because Fonz and Renly came out from the rear. You got Nielsen looking around on his rear because he's got Blue 4 guys around him, but they're actually right next to him instead. Now, Morgan, I thought he was firing at Fonz, but he's firing over Fonz to hit Waldo and Rufy as they are also engaged by the Huey overhead. Hearing more mortars firing out right here. I'm going to check Lolo's kill count again. He's on 6 now, so he gained 1 from the last time we checked him. We got some more Op 4 guys running out, but Blue 4 is hot on their heels within 100 meters behind them. And then, look at this, you got Michael. Oh, he just got hit by a grenade. He was about to get behind Swola and take him out, but he took shrapnel. But a lot of Op 4's elements are down here as well because they just took grenades. So
I think he's just knocked out, and Swallow didn't even notice he was there.
Yeah,
so
Michael and Banks wake up at the same time, so now Swallow just ran into him, though, and just did a double take and stopped. Michael didn't notice him at all. Swallow now might find Michael and hit him in the rear. But Michael might just get away.
Lucky, a lucky
Very
escape.
lucky, very lucky.
I don't even know, do they, with these things? It's great. I'm jealous. I wish I was in this battle. It looks really great fun.
They are doing this again next week, though. So if you want to play on the ground with RC Columbia, I would be more than happy to watch.
I'm going to have to download all the mods.
I know.
Don't even use them.
But then you can immediately uninstall them after.
It's just a lot.
I know. Ooh, so I think we just had Naders miss the RPG on the 113. It went slightly over, but it went in some infantry instead. But now you got Dooley with these 3 guys. Now Mike just shot at Giovanni because they're in CQC and not realizing they're friendly. That's the thing when you get into this elephant grass. And now you got the 50 cal on the 113 firing at Dooley's position. Because again, he's... Oh, he actually killed Dooley. But this is where they took that rocket from, so now they're just confused. Oh man, but just looking at the macro here of the map, I think Blue 4 now have the number advantage, just because of how everything's been going here. You got more mortars now coming out. Looks like these are the smoke mortars too. And something with some sort of gas effect here as well. Yeah. Oh, he's hitting his own guys! Oh! Call off the attack! He's even hurting himself with that Willie Pete. Hey, he's down to 5 kills now, and I just saw him team kill 2, so he was up to 7. Oh no, that was the entirety of Blue 4's northern line right there.
Willie Pete's pretty dangerous stuff.
Yeah. A lot of friendly fire today, but that's Vietnam for you. If you're off by a single grid square for that airstrike, you might be hitting your own guys at that point. So Waldo's trying to fight off the Huey with his Type 56 as the Huey fires back with the door guns. I just watched a Blue 4 guy get picked off by Swola and Major Khan on the eastern side. But now we're just going to see fighting on pretty much every front here as both sides are just down to their remnants and just get caught in a really nasty CQC where honestly anyone can come up from any single direction. Oh, the Huey took a rocket!
Wow. Good shot, somebody.
That was Steve, because he's got the helicopter kill.
Amazing.
So he hit a perpendicular shot of about, I want to say 300, maybe 400 meters away. That was great.
That's some skill right there. That's not an easy shot.
Oh, it is not. 15 minutes of play being called here. Roy DeCamper about to walk right on top of Ripier's position. Let's see if he notices.
Oh my god, he's right next to him. You can hear him.
You can hear them firing. At that range, if they're talking locally, you can even hear them if they're on whisper. But like I said, both sides are down to the remnant, so you're just going to have all these little miniature engagements of people walking on top of each other. This is, I would say, King of the Hill PvP at this point.
It is.
Ooh, Pogo stopping for Vagrant, and Vagrant takes him out. And I think Vagrant just got another kill, but then Vagrant is, oh no, he's still alive, but now he's getting fired at by a full 3 guys in a trench, so he's playing dead right here. After getting hit multiple times. Error, I appreciate the comment. All right, so you got Flux over here. I think he just scored a kill on someone on this right side. Again, as Op4 just pushing in with what they can.
Yeah, as soon as you fire on this, you got to move. You know,
yeah.
Because...
As you said to your guys before we started, you got to keep moving. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to get pinned down. Let's watch Steve get sniped by something. Could still wake back up, but he's got... Yeah, there's a Blue 4 guy back there trying to double tap him now. Oh, and there it is.
Yep.
But I think Blue 4 are going to be able to pull out with this one. They've just taken the number advantage away from Op4, and it's just been so messy. But let's see, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more kill, and Op4 will be down to single digits in terms of player count.
Yeah, I guess as always, you know, if you're the defender, you generally have a bit of an advantage.
I think Banks is about to shoot G-Legs' gunner in the face here. I think that might actually be G-Legs. Khalil is the driver. Wait for it. Nope, G-Legs just got out. Dang.
Yeah, there's not. They parked it in a good place because it's quite hard to keep up on. Frag out by the looks of it. Wasn't bad, it was a bit short. Very satisfied. Oh, now here comes the 50 cal. Oh dear.
Might be out of ammo though, or it's down actually because the gun's pointing downward.
Yeah, the turret's damaged.
So it got disabled by something.
Yeah, you've got to love those little details that Apollo puts in our vehicles.
Absolutely.
You can actually damage the gun. I mean, if we weren't that, didn't have that level of detail in our stuff, we wouldn't be able to do that. It's all those little things that add up together to make it.
It's always the little things.
Yeah. lot of people have commented over the years that our AK is extremely satisfying weapon to use. You tend to overlook the AK in armor and think, "Oh, it's an AK. I've been using it since Flashpoint.
Ooh.
It's boring." You know, but it's actually a really, really good AK. Has a nice sight on it, and it works really well.
You know, Ice. Oh, sorry. Continue. You're right. No, the AK is. it is a good gun, though. I will say the Type 56. Ice was commenting though that it is possible that Steve, based off of where Blue 4 was at the time, the crew of the Huey that got shot down actually killed Steve, based on their positioning. Meanwhile, Ivno is about to walk right on top of Wise. Oh. Well, that would be ironic, wouldn't it? You shoot down the helicopter, and then the crew of the helicopter manages to find you and still gun you down for it.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit of irony.
Op 4 is down to 4 players at this point, and Blue 4.
Shannon's up. He's an old dude like me. He's one of our Columbia regulars and very good friend of General Bore's. And a very experienced shooter and hunter.
Vagrant, meanwhile. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, but can he bring it? You know.
Yeah.
This is his first ever PvP game. So good luck to him.
Wow, Major Khan and Morgan here just traded. Morgan getting knocked unconscious, but Major Khan getting headshot. It's rare where you see 2 people actually trade like that. Just that split-second decision. Wombat takes out Vagrant because Wombat had an M60 and Vagrant ran out of ammo for his Type 56, unfortunately. And Shannon is now the only one up. Managed to get some shots in Roy and Ivno here.
He's staying still.
Oh, a grenade knocked him.
Problem of staying still.
Is Roy gonna find him though? Nope, Roy sees another body and drops it though. Oh, a rocket went by. Ooh. Shannon's back up. Roy went right by him.
It's tense. He's lying right there. Look, he's not going to move. Oh, he's moving. This is really cool because I bet his adrenaline is through the ceiling right now because he hasn't played PvP before.
Ivnow's now going through the bushes. And I think Shannon heard him.
He's a guy with a cast iron disposition as well. I would rate him in a battle. He knows he's outnumbered and outgunned. But he's just going to sit tight and see if he can get anyone that's near him.
So I think you still have Blue 4 doing some friendly fire here between fortified positions. Everyone's a little jumpy right now with how everything's gone. Oh. I think Shannon hears him. Ivno knows there's someone here because that's where he took fire from.
Yeah. He's not playing how you'd expect in a PvP match as well. He's doing the unexpected. He's sitting really still. All of us would be moving, right?
Right.
Because that's how we play PvP.
I feel like Ivno's eventually going to find him at this angle.
I mean, he's kind of sticking out the bush if you just have your eyes open. He's really close.
Ivno never checks the... Oh, here we go. Oh!
Yeah, you saw him.
That's it. All right, that is a Blue 4 victory.
Columbia.
Rob, thank you so much for joining me for this stream, man. It was an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely, yeah, and likewise.
I hope to see you Sunday for the RT Columbia op.
Yep.
And
Yep.
tomorrow, too, for Digby's thing.
Yeah, we've got Digby's thing tomorrow, and then Columbia on Sunday.
All right. I am going to wrap up my stream now. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Go operate operationally. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. Cheers. And I will be back in about an hour, hour and a half for a Warhammer 40k op where I'll be on the ground. So I will see you guys later. And again, thank you for joining us.